Alright, hello everyone. We're gonna watch some more Star Trek today. One episode that at least one person insists is really good, but I don't remember enough about it to confirm. But Unification's really good at least, and we're watching that. How do you feel about the game? With Ensign Wesley Crusher and Ensign Robin Leffler?
Are you asking me?
Yes.
I guess. I'm the pro the game viewer. Where I remember the first time I watched it, I thought it was just kind of so-so, and then I watched it a few years later, I was like, oh yeah, the game. It's this really dumb episode where Wesley Crusher saves the ship again, and everyone's enslaved by the virtual boy. And
when I was getting the thumbnail, I discovered that it's not actually Wesley that saves the ship. He tries, but he fails.
Oh.
Ooh.
Oh, yeah. Let's not get too in spoiler territory. But then...
There's Ferengi's in there, I know that.
Yeah, I guess Red Letter Media did their TNG... Or someone brought it up again, and they were like, yeah, the game's a good episode. And I was like, oh yeah, the game is a good episode, if you put it that way. I think it's well written. Wesley isn't some super kid. He's just and same thing with Robin Leffler, like they're two generally relatable characters who are up against a problem which seems, like larger than what they'd be able to handle, and I feel like that makes them a bit more relatable.
So before we get into the actual episode, let's unplay the screen here, and let's watch the trailer for the episode that aired on TV. Let's just watch that. Everybody check the stream, please, or you can queue it up yourself. And I'm gonna press play on that. There we go. A dangerous addiction.
The game for some purpose other than pleasure.
And the crew fall victim to its evil hypnotic powers.
We can't trust anyone anymore, not even the captain.
Not even the captain.
Rescue the crew from total mind control?
My God.
Or is he next?
We've got him, Captain.
Let go of me! High-tech nightmare on the next exciting episode of Star Trek: The Next Generation.
What is this?
High-tech nightmare.
Oh God, what is this? Why is this face on my screen now?
What?
Looks like someone's watched too many Next Generation blooper reels.
Yeah, that's from the TNG Season 1 blooper reel that someone posted and somehow didn't get taken down this time. This isn't, by the way, this isn't them like degrading the footage to bypass copyright. This is just what it looks like. It's just awful.
Movie trailer voice really doesn't lend itself well to Next Generation.
No, it doesn't. That's okay.
So
if anyone in the YouTube chat would like to join the voice chat, there's a link to Discord. Anyone's free to join. There is still space, plenty of space.
Part of this episode that kind of annoys me is that it's only Robin and Wesley who are like, this thing seems kind of weird. Why don't we check it out first? Everybody else is immediately duped by it.
Yeah, that's a good point. Like, you think if mind control technology is, I guess, accessible enough where these random aliens are able to have it, like maybe there's some, maybe like a procedure, like there's a little pamphlet, like a trifold they give out, like how to avoid being mind controlled by space aliens.
And we've had mind control from things you wear on your face before. They learned the lesson.
I mean, I guess, it's a good episode, and if it it's a relatively maybe minor detail, and I think from the way they set it up, it seems like, it's plausible that they were able to pull the wool over people's eyes. And
about 30 seconds till we start. Everyone be queued up to TNG The Game, Season 5, Episode 6, 30 seconds.
I think once it reaches a critical mass of like half the crew, the other half would be like, whoa, you guys are a bit off on this thing. This is weird. It shouldn't just be
strange
Wesley
in the neighborhood.
Like the title. Get rid of the old one.
Alright, let's blur the screen for the episode, and everybody be ready to press play in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, play. TNG the game. All right, let's see
Now this
how Riker explains what's happening here. Bill?
now this is a very, very awkward episode to watch as a family when you're 12 years old and you're going through puberty.
The faces that people are making at each other. I mean,
And
when
the
I was making the
sounds.
thumbnail, there's a scene where two very young characters are making faces at each other while they're wearing the thing, and it's very disconcerting. I don't like it.
I like this bedroom. This looks like assuming it's a bedroom.
It's a
I really like it. It looks like it's very modern, even though it's in the year, in the year 1990s. Let's just say, it's in the year 1990s, and there's a modern bedroom. Unlike the bedroom looks modernized. Looks like a modern bedroom.
She threw
Modern
his
architecture.
comm badge out the window. You can't do that.
Yeah, she's the saboteur. She's trying to like prevent him from calling for help because
Yeah, but he should know better than this. He needs.
Yeah, but no, Riker's an idiot. We all know.
built her,
He just
she built her
leaves it
bedroom
out there.
from Tetris blocks.
Yeah,
Oh, there it is.
This is Risa.
That is a shaming fan.
It is Risa, yes. And Riker
it's
has a terrible problem down here on Risa.
Also, she's got goat eyes.
she has a butt
wow.
face for like a butt forehead.
You're seeing the worst video game ever made.
Yeah, I will say maybe one of the parts that's aged the worst about this episode is just how the this game does not look.
There's
Very
this game, there's
fun at all.
Stratagema, which also doesn't make sense. Can we
This is
just
just-
like play some StarCraft or something here?
This is just like Frisbee from Wii Sports Resort.
I wonder if I can do an edit where I get rid of the game and just have the background shot of the pillows, and then I just overlay like a augmented reality Minecraft game.
Could you just get rid of the game and just have the pillows where Riker's just staring at pillows?
What everybody
Oh,
else
you
sees
s-
in the background.
He's staring right at the camera as he did that. That is even more awkward.
I feel like this episode is like a better version of Conspiracy.
This
Where
episode or the game itself?
This episode.
Kinda.
Like we've seen a couple of these conspiracy, almost Invasion of the Body Snatchers-esque, unsettling episodes, and I feel like this is a more unsettling one than the other one. Not to say that, and this might
I
be
mean,
a little.
tragically, I don't think anybody explodes in this episode, so that's a bit of a
Yeah,
letdown.
this may be a controversial opinion, but I feel like Conspiracy is my favorite episode of the first season just because it's so completely insane.
Wait, what?
Nobody
just
explodes,
Why
but-
do we have two felons here? Why are there two felons?
They're different colors.
Nobody explodes, but like if you have epilepsy, it might cause problems later on.
You know what? You know what?
Because of the spelling.
You know what my favorite part about Conspiracy is? I know we're not watching this episode, but just a quick fun fact. I love how it ends on a cliffhanger that's never, ever, ever picked up again. Where
That's a lot of Star Trek.
they're trying to figure out what the main plot arcs of the show were going to be, and then the writer's strike happened. And so they're like, oh man, these intimidating aliens sent out a signal. They're coming for us.
That'd be something for season 3 of Picard.
We'll bring them back.
Yeah, they're going to destroy all sentient life in the galaxy.
So regarding the game in particular here, that is the thing that you put on and what you do
Sure.
with it.
Mhm.
There are, I guess, 3 different aspects of it. One is the physical device and how it connects to your mind. And the second is how it's showing you what it's showing you. And the third thing is the computer the computer graphics, meaning the special effects.
And people say that TNG had no special effects.
Yeah.
So this is 1991 now. Is that correct?
It's true.
About the
Probably.
special effects. About the special effects. When I was first studying about the visual effects in Star Trek, I thought they used something like After Effects. I didn't know they used any
After Effects didn't do this this time.
physical effects, if you know what I mean. If you know what
practical
I mean. I didn't think it was more
Yeah.
involved than that.
This is one of the first real instances where something on television was very, very clearly computer-generated graphics to me.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean,
You just watch Reboot, I
everything would
say.
be all. I mean, you would think everything would be like now. Everything would be all
CGI.
like computer-generated graphics. But I guess
Even
not
in
there.
these kinds of shots,
in
we still have
1990.
Ensign Leffler in the background because she's very important to the episode. She gets to be in all the establishing shots.
Yeah. I will say,
Mission Specialist Ensign. Nice.
Star Trek, this era was sort of first generation CGI for TV, where they switched out the models. They literally like switched from models to CG like halfway through TNG for the space shots and stuff, and I didn't
That was
notice until
DS9.
it was
TNG
pointed
was
out.
all models.
Yeah.
When Stargate, they made a full CG game type thing.
So a minor point about what just happened. In Discovery,
Like virtual models.
Michael in season 1 is referred to as Specialist Burnham.
Yeah.
And I thought they made that up, but right here they just referred to as Specialist Leffler. So I guess that's a thing.
Isn't O'Brien a
Is it another
specialist
case
of
of
some kind?
the writers actually know more than the fan base?
They do. It's almost like this is their jobs and they did their research before making the show with millions of dollars.
Yeah.
Virtual
God.
models. Virtual models.
Oh, Troy can't resist chocolate because it's the 90s and she's a woman.
Look how gigantic that
I like
future
chocolate
bowl
too.
is.
And we all love chocolate, but Troy really loves chocolate.
Apparently,
Yeah.
Linus
Marina-
is going to make a video of 3D printing
And
chocolate
she has to-
soon.
And this used to be me, but I know she likes to have.
Marina Sirtis is on record as being disgusted by chocolate. By the way, she hated it.
Oh, really?
Okay.
She has to have. She has
She
to
is
have
a
chocolate.
character. But,
She
yeah.
has
Did
to
they
have
just
chocolate
give her
on-
like brown colored vanilla ice cream just to be nice, or did they make her eat the chocolate? They probably
No, they
made her eat the chocolate.
She has to
I
have
love
chocolate
how
on
it
everything.
seems like for
Yeah.
this bowl, they took like, one space bowl, and then they put like a second space bowl inside of it. And so it's a whole new kind of space bowl. And you can
When
tell
you have a
that it's like,
replicator, you can have infinite space bowls. You can just
I
nest them.
guess. But you can, it's so
Ooh, white
try.
chocolate chips. White
Okay,
chocolate
Troy,
chips.
now you're making it weird.
Chocolate
Just eat the
chip.
Yeah.
chocolate. It's not.
I mean, this is Riker, and he has his own weird sexual things going on. So this is maybe
Troy,
a
what are
normal
you doing?
conversation between the two of them.
Is she under the effects of the
Nice.
game, or is she just being weird?
What
Is
if
she
you
screwing with
chocolate
Riker right
just
now?
being weird.
Is she trolling him?
Another
Yeah, she's Troying him.
another alien race introduced like mind
Controlling
control chocolate into the Enterprise's system, and no one noticed just because the second mind control system was introduced like the same weekend.
What is that face?
What
That's
if you
a
were?
weird grid right
Marina,
there.
what are
Holy
you
shit.
doing?
That was like
Yeah,
a
she's,
song.
she's an
That
okay
was weird.
actress.
That's a weird
Hang on,
style.
Believe it or
wrote-
not, Kathy
wrote the
Ireland
teleplay
has
for
a smile
this?
like that. Believe it or not,
TNG
Kathy
the
Ireland
game.
has a smile like that.
Memory Alpha.
Hey, hi, Leslie.
Wesley's back.
Hey,
What's it?
Because he
teleplay
couldn't get
by
a job.
Brandon Braga. Brandon, what are you doing? Why are you making Troy do this?
That is a question that will persist on every episode that Brandon Braga writes.
I like how, usually when people show up, it's just on a shuttlecraft, but it seems like that entire, Oberth class ship came by just to drop off Wesley.
Yeah, That's its only useful purpose. Otherwise, it blows to smithereens.
Yeah, like otherwise the big ships, they might drop off like admirals or ambassadors or important people, but this time it seems like it's just Wesley.
The thing is that at this time we know that they have admirals' yachts and things. So the admiral should just go fly around space in those. I suppose it might be a little slower, but
yeah.
still.
And I know like shuttlecraft primarily exist just to have people abducted on their way back from conferences. But he could have just
like that.
taken one of those.
But Wesley can't get a job, so he's here.
The director for this episode is Corey Allen. He previously directed Encounter at Farpoint, Home Soil, which is the one with the nanobots going ugly
No, those were
things with mostly water.
micro-brains.
Final Mission, which is another Wesley episode, and Journey's End, which is the worst Wesley episode. Where Journey's End is the one where Wesley turns into the entity, the space energy thing.
Oh, yes. Did you know that before the CBS stuff and where it got a little edgier, if you were just counting what happened in the TV shows and not in the movies, if you were a mainline Star Trek character, it's more likely that you would be transformed into a god or godlike entity than it would be that you die.
Those are good odds. I'll take that.
At a rate of like 3 to 1, it's not even close.
Yeah.
But why does everybody turn down the godlike powers except like that one time in TOS? Just take the godlike powers.
Yeah.
We can just replace Riker. It's fine.
Oh no. So
We'll find another man somewhere to be the first officer for this ship.
One of the facts on the Memory Alpha page for this is that Braga admitted to hitting on Judd during filming and was dutifully ignored.
Yeah.
Braga, what's
You
wrong
admitted
with
what?
you? He was hitting on Ensign
like
Lefton.
check out Data as she walked by.
Almost bumped into each
Isn't
other.
Brandon Braga like double her age
Yeah.
at this point?
The Next Generation writers' room needed women.
No, they're only like 3 years apart.
Oh,
Why would Data be affected by the game, though? He's got completely different brain chemistry.
he's not going to be.
Sure.
They have another plot point for Data.
Right.
Now
What
Braga's
if you-
55, Ashley's 52, so they're only 3 years apart. And at this point,
Okay.
this was literally his first episode.
What if you ate a super chocolate sundae while you were playing the game?
I mean,
Oh,
based
that-
on Troy's
that'd be
reaction
amazing.
to it, it might just be an overload. That's too much for
Yeah,
a
you just
human brain
die.
or a Betazoid brain to handle.
What would have been an amazing plot point is like the mind control game and the mind control chocolates compete with each other, and like you have half the group, like they're trying to steal the ship, but they're trying to take it in different directions.
There's like
And
a
they do,
tribal
like-
war going
That
on
would be
between the
fun.
people in the.
They
I
do
would
like
enjoy
a
that.
monster separation.
Oh,
Commander
there's Robin in the
McDuff shows up again.
So Frakes apparently described the computer graphics as a tuba on a checkerboard.
Yeah, kind of.
All right.
Not computer graphics, they're acoudagrams. Because of course
Jeez,
we have
Wesley,
a
I
word
thought you were
for
the
it.
Wunderkind. Why are you having trouble operating your keyboard?
Yeah.
What's the
You
matter
should be
with
able to do this
Wesley?
It's
in
not a
his sleep.
QWERTY keyboard, it's a Dvorak keyboard. That's why.
Yeah.
Ah, okay.
He should be doing this in his sleep.
Yeah, I really appreciate how they stopped making Wesley the literal Christ figure
Yeah.
for some of these episodes.
For now. Until Journey's End.
There's a great post on Tuvix Institute where someone was like, in the original draft for season 1, Roddenberry himself actually wanted to play Wesley Crusher.
Oh my god, his
Hell.
neutrinos are drifting.
That was so awkward.
How can Jordy be affected by the game? Someone has to get him to take off his visor. And
Do
it,
they
Does
do
it get affected?
Jordy doesn't really have any chill, so I don't think he's gonna let someone just put it on him.
What if you're like trying to play the game but you have like sunglasses on?
And does it work the same if you only have one eye or if you have 3 eyes?
Can it work on Geordi at all if he's blind?
Actually, that's what we should really be talking about here.
Oh, is this the data plot point?
Yes.
Yes.
Oh, here we go.
He looks so.
It just happens to be in front of a
No.
desk.
That's a
Yeah.
good
I
vault
thought he was
print.
going to. I guess so. I was
Data looks
expecting his
like
face
he
to
That
go
was
on
a
the
very
table.
good
when he
story,
got
yeah.
shut off. Like the look on his face wasn't like necessarily betrayal, but like, ugh.
Jeez, how strong is Riker that he can carry Data? Data's made of metal.
Yeah.
How much does Data weigh?
He's got to weigh like a ton or half a ton.
He can't float without inflating his buoy pods like they did in Insurrection.
Yeah, I'm not sure. This is a
100
fictional
kilograms.
metal, but he's made of duranium, I think they said.
Yeah, but
Which
he's
is future
heavy
space
enough
metal.
where he's heavy enough where like he's able to comfortably walk on the bottom of a lake like a normal person walks on land.
What is
So he
that?
seems pretty heavy.
He's 100 kilograms or 220 pounds.
That can't be right.
It's from StarTrek.com.
I mean, I'm not
What?
doubting you that that's the number they gave. I just don't believe them that that's a valid, real number. That makes sense.
What number?
I mean, uranium could be a really light metal.
That is a really weird tea set that Picard has. Does he ever use this again? I don't recognize it.
I don't know. I feel like he does.
This is one of the only times we don't see replicated tea, I guess.
How is this guy still alive? If
It kind of looks like a candle.
if he was a full adult, like 30, 40 at the time when Picard was there, he'd be like 170 at this point.
Are they talking
that's an
about
exaggeration,
Goofy?
but
Or
yeah. The groundsmaster, he was quite old when
Oh.
Picard was there.
yeah,
They're talking about Boothby and one of the professors.
Oh, okay.
Keep in
I
mind,
mean,
though, people in Star Trek universe live to like
Yeah.
130.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's how old our Bones is in the pilot, isn't it?
Yeah, he is.
True.
I didn't think it
It makes
was.
sense. I mean, it's
Wait,
actually maybe an underestimate, given how long people, much longer people.
I
live
think
over
the
time.
longest we've lived at the moment is actually 130. What is the oldest person?
Hopefully,
Yeah, I
Boothby
think it's
puts
about
on a
right.
lot of
Someone's got
sunscreen
to
because he's
go on the
outdoors all the time for like 80 years. He needs to protect himself from the sun. Wear a hat.
122 years.
They have weather control do that.
I don't think the weather control filters out the UV rays.
So AF there, are those the initials of the excuse me. Are those the initials of the girl in Tapestry?
Hmm.
Oh, what
Wondering
was
is
her
just
name?
like
Yeah.
Let me see. TNG, Tapestry, Picard's lady friend. Google, I know you know it. No. Marta Batanides.
Darn, that would have
Her
been
name's
such a
Marta.
great tie. That would have been such a great
That
tie
was a
in if it
pretty
was
good
the
prop,
same girl.
actually.
I was wondering if the tree they were talking about in the ready room was the same tree that we see in season 3 of Discovery.
Why do they run diagnostics? They never show anything. Drives me nuts.
I mean, there was that one time it showed all the number 3 over and over again.
You need to have something for your engineers to do when your ship largely maintains itself.
Jordy's just, he's just window dressing for the ship.
You don't really
do
need- yeah.
anything.
You just
He
need
does
Geordi
fix a lot
and-
of issues that happen.
Jordy
You
is
just
so worthless on the ship that Data, a machine, went to Dr. Crusher to get fixed.
You just need to. Well, Geordi can.
Why didn't Geordi question that, considering that if Data had an issue, he would go to Geordi first and has done in the past?
But sometimes he doesn't. Sometimes he goes to sickbay.
Geordi's able to turn rocks into replicators and to change the laws of physics to bring a conclusion about by the end of the episode. So that's why he's around. Chief
trying to think
O'Brien's around
Do
to
we
do
ever have
all the
a real
actual
standout
work.
Geordi moment where he solves some massive problem by himself? I guess there's the Galaxy's Child thing.
What about Yeah, I was thinking of the same episode.
But even that, it's barely him. It's like 90% the computer solving the problem for him.
He can solve problems. There was what about the Q episode where they need to extend the warp field around the moon?
Yeah.
More than one episode where they need to replace all those chips for the warp core, if you know what I mean.
Maybe.
That was in the season one episode. I'm trying to think what that one is. I don't know.
I remember he gets the engine efficiency really high and beats the other ship.
Yeah, that's the one.
He designed that heat-resistant shielding in Descent off-screen, and then someone else just remembered they had it laying around.
I found most of Nick and now. You know the episode.
My
Nick
God,
and
it's
now.
the tubas on a checkerboard.
Yeah.
Okay, I do not like these. One, I don't like the subtitle "Gasps of Pleasure."
Oh God.
I mean, it's supposed to be unnerving to watch.
It is
And they
unnerving
feel
to watch. They
uncomfortable.
succeeded, I guess.
I wonder if they gave people like eye drops or used a light to like dilate the pupils, or like shoot in low light conditions to make it seem extra weird.
Her pupils do look dilated.
Yeah. Like I feel
probably-
like the lighting in this quarters is like darker than the other crew quarters we see in the show.
Oh, so now Geordi is
Well,
working on data.
Well, logistically, in terms of production, it would make a whole lot more sense and a whole lot less effort to just give everybody diluting eye drops.
I don't know. I know nothing
Dilate
of
eye drops.
filmography. Oh, I know nothing
Increased
of
light level, he said.
filmography and stuff. Yeah. So
I
like,
mean, eye
if you
drops,
could say
yeah.
this is the normal light level now, earlier in the scene, they could have turned the lights down and made.
Wait, did
yeah,
did
turn
Dr.
closer.
Crusher just offer to like host their date?
Yeah,
Yeah,
Yes.
Yeah, no, don't.
And it was
don't do that.
weird.
because she's addicted to Wii Frisbee.
Per se,
Here's dating
First-
tip number 26. Don't bring your parents on a date. At least not
Check
the
out
first date. Maybe like
West-
date number 30.
Check out Wesley's wardrobe in the back.
And the worst outfit you can see behind him is the one he's going to pick. Because that's how it works.
persuade Wesley.
There it is. Yeah, I'm not too keen on either of their outfits. Wesley's
Yeah.
outfit reminds me too much of his Flaps outfit. It's the same color.
In the future, you either have like really monochromatic outfit or an outfit with way too many colors.
her outfit is not only salmon colored; it actually looks like salmon.
Kinda. It looks uncomfortable at any rate.
Looked better from a distance.
The neck part looks pretty uncomfortable to me.
Eating like, what are they eating? Like berries with like a knife and a fork?
They're eating
He's
gushers
drinking-
and sour patch kids.
Yeah. That does look like that, doesn't
They're
it?
eating gushers and they're drinking pink grapefruit juice from a test tube.
Is that
As you
actually
do.
a graduated cylinder? I think it might
No,
be.
but
The one that,
it's really
that Leffler is
close.
drinking from.
There's no label on it. These are just flower pots.
I'm trying to figure
Yeah.
out that person in the background's outfit. Well, also that person is just playing chess against themselves, but I guess that's a thing you
Yeah.
can do.
That's something I wanted to point out.
He's missing an arm. I mean, to his outfit.
Is this the director or writer saying we shouldn't be playing video games?
Maybe. I'm also that person in the
Says it.
background. It kind of looks like half of their head is shaved, but I didn't think that was a thing in the 90s.
I feel like the message of this episode is video games are fucking rad. I'm sorry, I don't know if I can swear on this.
You're
Yeah.
swearing in my Star Trek? We don't swear in Star Trek.
Oh,
Mohawks.
there you
Mohawks have been around since the 1980s.
Swear in
at
my
the
latest.
But yes, you're allowed to swear.
Where's
Okay.
the other
Well, I'll try to do it in
piece
moderation.
on that? It's only got one of the two pieces sticking. Oh, it's on the bottom there.
So
It's
guest star
wonderful.
here
like-
is
Thin.
a guest star here is Ashley Judd, and
Yep.
country music is absolutely not my thing. So she's one of the two famous Judds, right?
3.
3? Were they really such a big deal that it would have been a big deal to have her guest star on Star Trek?
Judd Dredd?
Well, she herself wasn't a big deal at that point.
Yeah, no, it was just her mom and her grandmother, I think.
She was established in an episode last week or 2 weeks ago, but she just had one line. She had a name. That was it.
Mm-hmm. I like the fact that this is part of their nerd date still. Like, this is definitely a believable thing for
I can get behind
to
this. This is
decide
this
to
is a good date.
bond over. Yeah.
Still can't
reminds
get behind
me-
those outfits on both of them.
Oh,
But
God,
the
no.
date itself is okay.
She
Yeah.
reminds me of the ensign who spilled
No.
coffee on Captain Picard.
Mhm.
And was
Sonia. Is it Gomez?
Sonia Gomez, who was also in the first Borg episode, where like engineering has all of these fresh-faced, naive, like eager young engineers that routinely come in, and then they like hang out on the Enterprise for 2 weeks and see the kind of messes that go on there.
I
And
can't
then
help but
they
notice the lighting is turned down in
Immediately
this room.
transfer. Yeah, I don't
That's a
know. It's
bad
hard to
sign.
tell. Maybe we're just maybe it's
I think that just indicates that Picard is possessed by the game. By
yeah.
the
Yeah.
Pumas.
Yeah.
I'm wondering if this is maybe just something where we're looking for a pattern, but yeah, it does kind of feel like in these scenes when there's something sinister going on in this episode, they turn the lights down.
And also, if Picard weren't obsessed, or if he weren't already infected, then he would just solve the problem immediately, because that's his thing.
Yeah. Same thing with Data.
Is this a video game episode or a drugs episode?
I don't know if this
Yes.
necessarily has a message other than
Video games are bad, okay?
I don't know. I
Video
feel
games
like
make you feel strange, but also good.
I don't know if this one necessarily has a message of any kind other than it's possible to like chocolate too much. Don't experiment with random technologies
Oh,
you got
here
on
it
the
is.
vacation planet. Yeah, Wesley clearly could have seen that when he's talking to Picard.
No, don't worry about it.
They kept it out of sight of the camera, but like Wesley was staring right at it. Just
There are
sitting
multiple
on the
scenes
table
that
behind him.
people have talked about at conventions about things that they clearly should be able to see. Like that time in Parallels where Geordi dies in one alternate universe, and they go into sickbay. It's like, oh, can we talk to Geordi? And they're all surprised, and the camera pans over, and there's just Geordi laying on a slab dead. It's like, really? You couldn't tell?
I like
in
how these
the
people
morgue.
are playing the game, and on top of the gang, they're playing out in their, what am I trying to say? They're hanging out in 10 forward.
They're multitasking. This is what cell phones were like back then.
Oh, hey, Chief. There's also a bit where they talk about at a convention. Oh, what's the? It's
Oh,
an
this is
Ensign
a
Row
perfect
episode.
place.
The one where she goes and like pretends to defect to the Maquis and then really defects. And as part of the ruse, they go in. It's like, oh, we're looking for a Bajoran woman. She looks like this. And the story is that they would just keep messing up the take over and over again. It's like, and they would say,
Oh, yeah,
we're
I
looking
saw
for a
that.
Bajoran woman. And she looks a lot like her. Because she's just sitting right there, right next to them, and they have to pretend they can't see her.
This is a great place to have your secret conversation, by the way.
Exactly.
In the most public place, the most public room in the ship.
Yeah, surrounded by your enemies.
Okay. I assume they're not going to be able to turn Data back on, because he would, solve everything. And we still got like 15 minutes left in the episode. All the systems are working. Did they just short him out? I remember in the Mark Twain episode, there was an iron filing that shorted him out, stopped him from turning on.
Maybe they could just connect him to another robot, and then he can talk and interact that way.
Oh, I don't like this zoom in. Something spooky's about to happen. Some kind of damage.
Did you miss that one?
No, that one's in there.
When you make those, by the way, do you have access to all the scripts so you can search by words?
Yes, exactly.
Huh.
It searches all the scripts at once for certain words or phrases. Data himself? And Chief O'Brien? Who's the other person? And why does Dr. Crusher... Why does she know this about Data? He's a machine. He's not a person. Well, he is a person. He's not biological.
I feel like Dr. Crusher was established in an earlier episode, like really early in the show, to have some sort of important role in like making sure Data's battery gets changed every now and then. He like gets his oil topped off every 30,000 miles.
There's an episode earlier in the series, right, where Data tells Dr. Crusher where his off switch is?
Yes.
And so we've established that. So whatever the reason was, Data specifically chose Dr. Crusher to confide that to.
It was consistent. It still doesn't make sense.
Data's
I guess he just likes her. Maybe Dr. Crusher sees it at a point of professional pride that he's a person on the ship, therefore she has to learn how to fix him.
Well, that was the lore episode, so they were trying to figure out how to compare, like they were comparing him and lore to try to figure out how to put lore together, so he needed to be turned off. And then later on, Riker discovered the on-off switch in Starfleet records for the
now if an ordinary mom walked in on his son making these sounds on his bed with a girl.
Yeah, this is the scene I mentioned earlier that makes me really uncomfortable. I hate everything about what's happening on screen right now.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess it's... What am I trying to say? Like, the more uncomfortable we feel, the better the episode is.
True.
Yeah, that's true. They are definitely trying to push the envelope into audience uncomfort. Which is what makes the episode good, if it's good.
Just keep those things on if you're walking around the ship.
Yeah. I was just about to say
the Ferengi rules of acquisition here.
That's not a triangle. Got excited for a second, but it's not a triangle. That's a different model.
It's almost.
It's
almost
triangular. As much as I wish it was one.
Oh, it's her.
Yeah. The lady who gave them the game on Risa.
The butthead.
Okay. Well, that's good in the sense that she was the originator, so that means that there isn't somebody else up the tree or whatever. Because this sort of thing would quickly spread across the galaxy in a matter of a week or something.
Okay, so she is trying to take over basically the entire Federation with that.
Hey, we're seeing the Enterprise bridge from the other ship view screen. We've almost never, ever see that.
Yeah.
Fancy.
And we get to see that this entire ship is controlled by, like, 2 armrests.
I like how it's exactly the same shot that we had when we were on the Enterprise bridge. They just crop it with a wall.
You know, future Zoom, it has a built-in cinematography that just does its stuff.
But they could have shot it at like a different angle to make it look a little different. Come on.
There was a...
Nurse Ogawa. How's it going?
Yeah.
Long time no see.
There are scenes that suggest that the Enterprise view screen is not just two-dimensional, but actually like your vantage point will shift around if you like walked around it, because there's scenes.
They're holographic screens. They're fully 3D.
Yeah, like there's scenes where you see where you're standing perpendicular to the screen, and like you see the side of the person on the Enterprise's bridge, and you see the person on the side of like the Klingon bridge.
A really good example of that is when Picard's talking to Tomalak on the bridge at one point, because we get all these dramatic shots of Tomalak's face from straight on, then we get a side shot from the side, and from another side, and it's just always changing the image of Tomalak. Oh, did she play the game? She played the game.
You lost the game!
Good job,
of course,
Robin.
Worf will lose, and is unable to perform physical combat, which is the thing is supposed to be best at.
You know what? Now that I think about the early 1990s, this is absolutely a message about drugs and peer pressure.
Okay.
Now that he's actually actively being pursued and stuff, because everything that was put to kids at this era about anti-drugs was peer pressure.
Friends do peer pressure was a big thing.
The notes on Memory Alpha very specifically say that the writers and the original pitch people for this episode were trying to do a message about video games.
Oh, okay.
Well, that's dumb.
I wasn't sure if it was like a direct theme or if it was just influenced by other prominent themes in the media at the time.
Really? The people making the most prominent science fiction show in the world have a problem with other nerdy hobbies?
So the person who originally pitched it said that, whenever they had writer's block or anything like that, they'd just pick up their Game Boy and play Tetris, and that it was addictive. And that was just the original idea behind the episode. This episode went through several iterations.
This episode would be so much more believable if they just played Tetris or something like that instead of Frisbee.
Maybe an episode about Geordi on the holodeck procrastinating, but we already got that. We already got that with Barclay.
Yeah. I also don't understand why you have like Risa and video games and literally any other recreational activity when the holodeck's an option.
Yeah.
I don't understand why everyone isn't just like Nog in that one episode where you just live in the holodeck for full time.
On the holodeck, you could have 360 degrees of tubas.
And and people of choice hand feeding you grapes and stuff like that.
Not your coworkers, though. Then it gets weird.
No. But like, there'd be no scarcity of any kind, and if you're able to like simulate any environment.
I'm not sure if it's the angle here, but that saucer section looks decidedly circular.
Wow.
It looks like an ovoid.
It's a schematic.
It's a schematic.
Who's that other person in the reflection? Oh, well, she's gone now.
I think it's Robin Leffler.
That was Robin, yeah. Also, why did Robin look like she had been like drugged, whereas everybody else is just functioning normally?
Yeah, like she looked like she just like lost 10 hours of sleep. Just to make it extra eerie.
Oh, there's another matte painting of the other Crawlway behind Worf.
I'm sorry, but Worf crawling around after people is not scary whatsoever. He looks so silly.
He's surrounded. Oh, this is where Picard plays his flute with the nice piano lady.
Yeah.
Commander Darren, I think her name is.
Why'd they have to bring him all the way to the bridge?
Because it's the most dramatic set on the ship.
Yeah, make it ceremonial.
All right,
there was a 1990 or 91. There was a Saturday morning cartoon special, half hour, I think it was called Cartoon All Stars to the Rescue, and it was only aired once. It was even preceded by 10-second announcement by then President George H.W. Bush, and his wife. And what that show had was a very, very strong anti-drugs message and peer pressure message. But it also was, it also had every Saturday morning cartoon character in it. Somehow they got everybody to contribute the time of their characters and talent into making that thing. I don't think it's ever been published, but it also had some very uncomfortable moments like this.
Oh no. It's Commander Data. He's holding the flashlight. Oh, episode one in. Everybody look away.
Data just literally solved the whole problem by himself and creates a device that can undo the effects of brainwashing that's handheld and can be...
I'm not even epileptic, and that is really uncomfortable.
Yeah.
Now, I'm curious if Robin and Wesley actually fixed her, or if he just had like a self-repair system, so they literally accomplished nothing.
I think Data explains it in a minute.
He should.
He figured out the whole thing by himself.
I assume he did that with everybody on the ship, to like flashing the ceiling lights.
Yeah, he explains it in a bit.
There's one person who actually just never got unbrainwashed. Like they were just in a room that maybe they were just in like one of the Jeffries tubes or something, and they never got unbrainwashed, and they were just some nobody. Never really got noticed.
No signal, that's not a triangle. It's a triangular, but it's not the triangle. It doesn't count. Okay, so Wesley did fix it.
Why don't you just call it a
just been running around in
flashlight?
the background, and we just didn't see him.
Yeah.
For dramatic effect.
He figured it out in like 5 minutes, like by himself. He didn't even leave the room.
For an android, that is an eternity.
Maybe...
If they just should solve literally every problem in the ship in 5 seconds.
Yeah.
The ones who saw
writers. It's like the writers of the show have to be their own GM, where they say, well, how can we make sure that this character can't do that? Because that'll make it over in 10 minutes.
Yeah, reference there is one which calibrates surprise attacks. There's a level 1 spell called Alarm.
Birthmark?
This raises a lot of questions about the nature of their relationship, but I don't think we need to answer those.
Yeah, I'm really excited to never see Robin Leffler again.
So when's the next time we see Wesley? Is it that time he covers up the death of a cadet?
Yep.
The first duty?
Yeah. I think that's the next time.
Yeah. And then, of course, one of those characters clearly should have been Tom Paris.
Mm-hmm.
Because their last name is Paris, and the character, it fits exactly in where the character should be.
What do you mean? Tom Paris and Nicholas Carno are completely different characters.
Yeah, they had to change the name.
They have different names and everything.
So they could get a different actor and not have to pay the writer extra.
No, it's the same actor, wasn't it?
The character.
You know the thing I don't get in
It's
this
the same,
series?
It's the same actor, yeah.
Oh, never mind. Yeah, that's even.
It was just so they didn't have to pay the person who wrote that episode for the character creation for every episode of Voyager.
Oh yeah, Robin's laws. There was an endearing plot point that I completely missed.
Yeah, Robin's laws of acquisition.
She gave him a plexiglass page-a-day calendar.
Yeah.
Yeah, that self-published.
Yeah, but it's the same character.
So we never do see Robin Leffler again, right?
Nah.
This is our last
She's
appearance.
Sorry. I don't really get that they have turbolifts and things in TNG. Because we see on multiple occasions, you can just transport from one location on the ship to another location on the ship with no hassle.
Well, I mean, you need to have a physical way to get there anyway. What if the transporter is down?
Exactly. Oh, the next episode is in
You need the
memoriam.
Jeffries tube so you can film disaster.
Also, what if you're worried about being scrambled across the entire galaxy? Have your molecules messed up.
Also,
I don't know why they don't use. I suppose having a backup system, though, the Turbulents are not much of a backup system the number of times they fail.
I think Andrew Probert's
you would generally just use site to site because it's much easier.
You know what would have been even better than putting in the Jeffries tubes in the turbo lifts and the transporters, though? Literally just like one emergency stairway in the ship.
Also, Andrew, that was what I was just going to say, is Andrew Probert's original concept designs, the blueprints actually have stairwells all over the place.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know,
We never
Jeffries
see them.
tubes are cool. I think they look nice. It's a way to save on set money, and you get all sorts of good scenes in them. So I guess, and I guess I can understand stairs being obsolete, but
Yeah, is it really the only way to go up and down is either a turbo lift or a ladder?
Well,
yeah, those are the only ways.
don't forget,
Yeah.
you're not in a normal building either. You're on a ship. So conceivably, space is at a premium.
Not on the.
Not on the
Yeah,
Enterprise,
not on the
no.
Enterprise D, which is gigantic.
Which has like a football field worth of space for every single person.
Yeah.
Okay, you blew that theory out of us.
Yeah.
The Defiant, absolutely, that would totally make sense. The Enterprise,
Yeah.
no, they could have stairs.
You should never think about how scale works in Star Trek because it'll break your brain, because it's just some production designer mixing and matching models. It's like, yeah, let's have, this ship appear next to this ship, and then it'll be twice as large as that one. And then in two separate movies or episodes, we'll have both of those ships fly in front of the same other ship or other object, and they'll be the same size relative to that third thing.
All right, everybody cue up the next episode, 35 seconds to Unification Part 1, with Old Spock. We get to meet him again. Everybody loves Spock.
There's only 8 people here to watch the best episode in Star Trek.
Yep, there's still
TNG.
space in the Discord.
The best Star Trek episode is Masks.
Boo.
Good.
I mean, I
You
like
guys can hear me,
masks.
right?
Yes.
Okay, alright. Great. This
Well, now
took me
we can.
forever to figure out. Thank you.
Everybody press play in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, play. And play the screen. We're all good. Oh, this is the Gene Roddenberry
Yeah.
Memorial because he is now passed.
Bye, Gene Roddenberry.
Bye, Gene.
Yeah, sorry I couldn't get on for the, I had a tech issue. I couldn't get on for the Ashley Judd episode. But yeah, she was like a nobody, and it was just kind of an interesting footnote that she was from a country music family at the time. And then, yeah, like 5-6 years later, she was like one of the biggest actresses in Hollywood. It was just very odd that she started out on Star Trek.
This is Admiral... Is her name Hackett?
Admiral Hackett's from Mass Effect.
Oh, according to Amazon, she's Admiral Brackett. I was close.
Starfleet admirals have like no middle ground between being like perfectly reasonable and logical and prudent authority figures to being completely arbitrary villains who try to feed your starship to the planet killer.
For the record, Admiral
You're right.
Brackett here is a good admiral.
Oh, so there is internet in Star Trek, they just never use it.
Yeah.
No wonder Kirk didn't want to be an admiral.
Kirk would absolutely be a bad admiral, just because he would be just going wild, and the main ship that we're dealing with would have to go and fix all the problems he causes. My God, it's Spock.
What if it's just someone who looks like Spock? Like in the entire Romulan Empire, which of these people who look like Vulcans, there's just one person who just looks pretty close.
Like a doppelganger, yeah.
Yeah, not even like a doppelganger, and not like an artificial doppelganger. It's just like a coincidence.
So, fun
Oh,
fact,
yeah. No, that
minus the
happened.
ears and the eyebrows, I have an uncle that's a Spock doppelganger. Exact same voice as Leonard Nimoy.
Maybe it is Leonard Nimoy.
Weirds me out.
You have to have him do a voice impression sometime. make an
There might be
animated
difficulties.
video to it.
Complete opposite personality.
You could have them like create your own Leonard Nimoy lines and like dub over actual Spock appearances, and you could
Did you
write
guys
new
mention?
dialogue.
Did anyone mention that yesterday would have been Leonard Nimoy's birthday?
Oh.
He would have been 90, I think. 80?
Right, we joked about doing a Talk Like Spock stream.
Oh yeah, I missed the Shatner one. How did that go, man?
We joked 10 minutes in. But we kept
That was
going.
hard to endure for an entire 45 minutes.
Okay. Yeah, I had to work. Maybe it was for the best.
If you want to watch the VOD, it's gonna be there.
Yeah, I'll
show what you would. But yeah, it's there.
I got stuck in it so much that when Ryan said stop, I almost couldn't stop.
Slightly myself as well.
I should have jumped on and then tried to do like a work call, talking like Shatner, and just see how that goes. My boss would have thought I was insane.
Is this new? This right here, picture-in-picture mode. Did they just add that to Amazon?
You unblurred it.
Exactly, so I could show the picture-in-picture mode.
I think that is new, actually. Yeah, I saw that the other day.
Neat.
It's not something on Netflix, apparently.
Oh, he has an adventure jacket.
Ooh.
Oh, he's gonna be going
This
out.
shit's going down.
My foot.
So I just want to say that the Enterprise D is probably like my all-time fictional spaceship, and one of the reasons it is just because it looks so cozy.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I really like. I wish they kind of stuck with this design aesthetic, where like the entire starship's like a couch.
Yeah, like look at those chairs. Those chairs look so comfortable.
Yeah. And like, in Voyager, everything's all sleek and maybe a little bit more minimalistic submarine feeling, which I guess fits the tone of the show. But
It's been so long since I've seen Voyager episodes, I kind of forget how that looks in comparison.
Yeah.
Wait, what's the Max Headroom episode, Faint Signal? What do you mean? I don't know what that means.
Oh, yeah, that'll be the last episode today. It's the time traveler guy, is Matt Frewer, who played Max Headroom.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that's after Unification.
Yeah, it's after the second part.
I'm really big on, in terms of ship models, I'm big on the NX-01. That's a good ship.
I love the NX-01, yeah.
The NX-01 was a good way of them like designing something that's what am I trying to say? Where, the Constitution class is ridiculous, where all but one of the displays are map paintings, and it's a good design, but obviously it doesn't look like what we think
The physical
the future
structure
would
doesn't
look.
really look like a real ship.
Yeah, and like the design obviously would be dramatically different if you did it again. And the NX-01 was this good way of having it where it's like it looks
some kind of strange
feasible.
concoction they call mint. Some kind. Very important.
It looks like what a future spaceship would look like, but it also looks like something that could eventually turn into these sets from the 60s.
The NX-01 looks like a viable thing that could exist. And it still has that nacelle design, still has the saucer. It just looks more realistic. And it's a better color. I like the darker grays, more metallic than the sort of matte light gray.
I want to say the Enterprise D is actually like a light blue, but or a bluish gray, but it doesn't really look too differently compared to space.
Yeah, I had a model, like a metal toy model of it when I was a kid, and that was much more blue. And I think it's just something about the scale and the sort of way it looks that it is more gray.
Yeah. Also, if you look at pictures of the Enterprise D models that they were using for filming, outside of like when they're just sitting around, not in the special effects rigs.
Yeah, I think it has to do honestly with like the color temperature of the video system and less with like the actual colors. But
before we get too far from this lady here, she's trying to intervene between two Vulcans who are having like a logical debate, and she's getting offended on their behalf.
Oh, that
sounds like a losing battle to me.
That's humanity's relationship with the Vulcans, where like they're these prudent people who are very logical, and then we just show up and
I was like, yeah, but isn't that all actually stupid? Doesn't that just make everyone feel bad? And they always go like, yeah, actually, kinda does.
Humans can arrive at the arbitrary solutions that make no sense that Vulcans could never reach on their own.
This is Perrin, I believe, not Amanda.
Yeah.
Amanda's dead.
This is Perrin.
Yeah.
I was going to say, before we get too far away from the credits, there's a lot of guest stars in these 2 episodes. You've got Joanna Miles here as Perrin. You've got Stephen Root, who you guys might know from like News Radio or Office Space.
Oh yeah,
is he Pardek, or is he?
He's Captain Kavada.
Okay,
Daniel Roebuck, who's he's one of those guy kind of actors. Of course, Mark Leonard, and then a guy named Leonard Nimoy, who we're all very familiar with.
Yes. Oh, TNG behind Riker. There she is.
Ooh.
I mean, she might still be an ensign at this point, but she'll get a promotion eventually. She'll become a Lieutenant J.
Perrin's outfit there reminded me very, very much of the original series. Maybe it was the bright blue, but it looks like she stepped out of the original series.
Yeah, she has those like quartz gemstones that she's wearing.
I mean, it's really weird, but it's also very Vulcan, so I can live with it. Because Vulcans just wear weird stuff.
Yeah. For a species based entirely on logic, they have really impractical fashion sense.
Why does Sarek just have a room with a slab in it? Where did he get this?
It's the slab room.
Is this imported? Did he replicate it? What was this room used before he got all crazy?
No wonder he can't sleep. That bed's horribly uncomfortable.
It reminds me of the other Sarek episode where they're like in the swimming pool room where the diplomats are going to have their mud bath, and Sarek's all like, "It's too bright in here. Turn the lights down." Like he doesn't like these.
He filled in the pool of cement, put a slab on it, turned down the lights.
Yeah, like he doesn't like spaces that have any kind of like distinguishing features or details and stuff.
Oh, sorry, I missed the opportunity. When it panned into Sarek for the first time, I was supposed to say, "Oh, hi, Mark." So I'll just say no. "Oh, hi, Mark. How you feeling today?" Not feeling so hot, it looks like. He's having a rough time.
We were talking about cameos earlier. Do you guys have favorite Star Trek cameos?
Well, yeah, probably my favorite one in the Next Generation would have been Robin Williams in the role that Matt Frewer played. Matt Frewer does a great job. Well, maybe, except for Star Trek, I don't know Joe Piscopo at all. So in terms of guest star, it doesn't really fit the definition.
I walked everyone through the Joe Piscopo biography last week. I'm not going to do it again. Screw that. My favorite cameo is, I don't even think he has a line, but basketball player James Worthy plays a Klingon, and he's like 6'9".
Oh, right. He's in Gambit.
Right. I think, yeah. It's just fun because it's like, if you didn't know it was him, you wouldn't have any idea. But he's a huge Star Trek fan. And when I was a kid, I thought that was cool because I was a guy who played a lot of sports. But I was also super into Star Trek, and I felt like bad about it. I didn't let my jock friends know. And then I kind of felt like, oh no, you can be into sports and be a Star Trek fan.
That's kind of weird coming from... that's really weird for me to hear because I was never really interested in sports, and I was so antisocial I didn't even know that Science Olympiad existed, which I would have been super into.
Oh man, yeah. Or like academic decathlon was really fun. Competitive like that. Well, I blew my knee out in 10th grade, so I kind of had to move on to other things. But yeah, no, it's weird to have that crossover where you're into sports and Star Trek. I'm actually watching college basketball.
I think James Worthy gets a couple lines, but they're all just single words. Like he'll say no, and that's it. He's done.
Which is fine. Like he's not an actor, so I'm sure he was fine with it.
I just want to say real quick when they're talking about Pardak that the Pardak was one of the animals made up by Strong Bad and the Strong Bad animal email.
Okay.
It was?
Yeah, I'll put it in the Discord.
I think probably Sarek is not referencing Strong Bad here. That's probably
especially
unrelated.
because it wasn't created until after this episode aired.
What do you mean?
Yeah,
This is like the 2400s, 2300s, excuse me.
Oh, yeah.
It's way after.
Yeah.
I'm curious if anyone under the age of 30 knows who Strong Bad is.
Oh, Pardak.
Yeah, the Pardak.
This is spelled in Strong Bad, spelled Pardack. Here it's spelled Pardek.
Well, it's close enough where I can't take Pardak seriously in whatever scene he's going to appear in.
On certain evenings in late spring, a cool Romulan ale can be very refreshing.
So did they make Mark Leonard Nimoy's dad because they both have Leonard?
I'm going to guess not. I mean, and they're spelled differently. So
that's an episode for the makers of The Balance of Terror, right? Where Mark Leonard first played a Romulan Vulcan.
Oh, real quick, before we move too far off the topic, I'd like to say that my favorite cameos might be Kelsey Grammer as the captain of the Bozeman.
Oh, man. Yeah, that's just so random.
Mae Jameson as, what was her name? One of the lieutenants in a season 6 episode. Mae Jameson, the astronaut.
Oh,
and of course, Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson is random wrestler alien in that Voyager episode.
I forgot about that. That is, and it was when he was just a wrestler because UPN was doing WWF. It was at the time,
and it's very important. Also. Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson. You always have to say Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson. You can't call him like Dwayne Johnson. You have to include "The Rock."
Yeah. When he's in Star Trek, he's Dwayne the Spock Johnson.
Yes.
I
he beats up 7 of 9 or tries to. I don't remember who wins.
Of course 7 of 9 wins. She is Borg.
She is Borg.
I stopped watching Voyager after they switched 7 of 9 for Cass.
Other way around.
But that's when it gets good.
Yeah.
Yeah, no kidding.
The best episode before Scorpion is literally Tuvix.
Oh, yeah, God. You're missing out on all the good stuff. If that's when you dropped out, no, you need to go back.
Mm-hmm. And was
did you know that Star Trek Voyager indirectly created the Obama presidency?
Yes.
Through a contrived series of events that led to the rise of Barack Obama's political career.
It was basically the story, to give the short version.
Okay.
7 of 9 was dating some politician who was running against Obama, and the politician, it turned out, wasn't a great guy, treating Jerry Ryan.
Yeah. I guess you could say that the somewhat lackluster writing of Voyager's early seasons led to the Obama presidency, where Jerry Ryan taking the role contributed to accelerated her failing marriage with her ass-face husband.
Yeah, this guy Jack Ryan out of Illinois. He had to drop out of the 2004 U.S. Senate race because of,
which allowed a somewhat unknown figure named Barack Obama to surge into the U.S. Senate.
And then he spoke at the DNC and got on everyone's radar. And the rest is history. It's just crazy. Yeah, you're absolutely right. That is one of those weird things.
And like Obama probably would have beaten him anyway, and the marriage probably would have collapsed anyway, or not collapsed. That's not a good way to put it. But Jerry Ryan would have divorced him anyway. And there's all sorts of ways where we could have had roughly the same events occur. But it's a fun coincidence.
Yes. So this episode, well, a little bit earlier, while we were still talking to Sarek, he was talking about how Spock would go into the mountains for days, and he was like, "I demand you tell me what you were doing." He would refuse, and I punished him, and he bore it silently. Spock has always been a very secretive person. He doesn't talk about things. Mm-hmm. He especially doesn't talk about his siblings.
Yeah. If you're
Spock
watching
can have any number of secrets, because he'll never tell anyone anything.
If you're watching this episode for the first time, I might recommend watching it on your own, because there's all sorts of great character scenes
It looks like
I think that
It
goes
is
for,
completely.
Yeah, that
yeah, I
make
think
you,
that goes for
make
any
you
episode you
feel
watch log, really. I mean, come on.
emotions, but I'm just going to be talking about random Voyager trivia and Dwayne Johnson and Obama, like on top of it. It's going to ruin the whole experience.
His name is Dwayne The Rock Johnson.
Yeah, let's be
Okay.
clear.
that
I was
looks
like, who's he talking about? Oh, okay.
that looks like Ernest Borgnine.
It's not.
Borg 9?
Yeah.
9 is a no? Oh, that's genius. Ernest Borgnine? Yeah.
We're also going to get some very excellent solving problems by just talking in a little bit. Captain Picard and some Klingons. The Crocton segment, very good. That sounds more Klingon than
It's a whole
Romulan, but okay.
crock-ton of segments.
I would definitely eat like a prepackaged snack food called the Crocton.
That sounds awful.
Release the crock-ton.
Crocton segments sound like the new product from the Frito-Lay Corporation.
No, man, it sounds like it's made out of people or something. Like, I don't want that.
How could Data possibly get this level of information about the Crocton segment and Pardek's schedule every week, every day of the week? How does he know this?
He checks his Facebook.
Did he like hack into the Romulan cameras that we know for sure on every street corner? Because they're Romulan.
Data created like his own search engine, so he can just like he knows all of Google.
Does Pardek take selfies regularly, and they just checked Pardek's Instagram? Junior Adjutant, by check.
How do you think you end up as Gowron's receptionist? Are you a member of the Order of the Sword?
Position.
Yeah, you don't do any fighting. You get to do like verbal jousting with anyone who gives him a phone
fighting.
call.
Same way you get to be a Klingon lawyer. You just redefine what it means to battle.
keep moving those goalposts. It's fine. Yeah.
That's what the Klingons are all about. They're all about moving goalposts. That's their whole thing.
That's their whole thing.
A close vessel is no small favor, Captain. And I'm like, oh, I'm sorry. I didn't know you had a shortage.
The Klingon culture consists entirely of, nah, we're right.
This actor is Eric Avari. He's in Planet of the Apes. He's in the Brendan Fraser Mummy movie. He's in one of the Home Alone sequels, too. I remember that for some reason.
That episode of DS9 where Ezri, I think, is like, the entire Klingon political system is messed up and stupid. And then, like, Worf is like, oh, yeah, you're right. And he, like, changes the whole thing in the same episode, basically.
Are you threatening me, Master Jedi?
He introduces
yes, I am.
Societal why he basically does one of the most.
Oh man, that effect looks awesome.
I had never.
It actually is a pretty good effect.
That looks fucking awesome.
Was that digital? That looked like a physical light they shined him in from off screen.
Yeah, I think what you would do is you take the static effect and then you do that basically in front of a green screen.
Yeah, you're like chroma key.
Yeah, and then you can chroma key it, and then you can also mask it so it fits the.
I mean, sure, but this was the
actor's
90s.
head.
No, I think it was a light
effect
for
that.
I think it was a light effect, probably with digital cleanup. But I mean, you're not going to get like that texture of light on his face. Like that's so hard to fake.
Because Captain Picard's eyes 0.004 something's higher than the other. Awful. Oh, hey, Jay. There's Tracy. How's it going? Oh, bye, Tracy.
I always thought the reconstructive makeup in Star Trek, or like the plastic surgery, seemed really impressive. And then I realized they just use the same makeup techniques they use when they just make the show.
Yes. There's a lot of barrels around in here. Some blue ones there. Some more up on that ledge.
Roll.
I don't know why they have a ledge that they store barrels on, but they do.
Because then when like the ship shakes, they can fall, and it's precarious and creates drama. These props look nice too.
I mean, in that other cargo bay where the barrel actually did fall off, they had shelving there.
I'm really excited for the space junkyard scene later in this episode where we get to see all the fun kit bash starships.
Yes.
Look at this. I've never seen Klingons in a fog lens before like this. You know, where you're supposed to be doing glamour shots. With
Yeah,
this
I think it's trying to create like a almost like a cave, subterranean kind of effect. Like, okay, they're more concerned with industrials than visuals. But it ends up being just like a Vaseline effect.
So, speaking of Vaseline effects, this is somewhat unrelated to the episode, but I'm just wondering if we could get some good scenes of the original series where they love the Vaseline effect. What would it look like if we applied it to all the close-ups of the men and all the women were really crisp?
Oh, that'd be great.
It would have looked like
one of the Klingons
glamour shot
on
of
screen.
50-year-old William Shatner.
people in the 60s would have been smacking their TVs thinking there was something wrong with it.
So what was this actor's name? He was a guest star, right? The Klingon dude.
Oh, Stephen Root. Please.
Is it really?
Yeah, that's Stephen Root, man. It's crazy. Yeah, he's Jimmy James
Wow.
on Radio, and he's Milton in Office Space. He's in Dodgeball. He's on King of the Hill.
No, he's great. Yeah.
This is quite a statement that is a military ship, not a pleasure craft, given that the space on the Enterprise.
The Enterprise is 100% a pleasure craft. That's what it's called.
Easy for you to say.
You will
Apparently
sleep
not. It's not
Klingon
easy for me to say.
I love how every time they're on a Klingon ship, they always have a scene where they're like, we Klingons don't care about personal comfort and we eat live worms. And then the human character's always like, I love live worms.
Your burned replicated bird meat?
Yeah, they do this like over and over and over, and honestly, I feel like it doesn't necessarily get old. It's entertaining to watch.
It's a
matter of appreciating a different culture and validating a person that way.
And also, like...
This definitely feels illegal for that bird of prey to go into Romulan space. It's very illegal.
Yeah, Klingons don't have laws. It's always fun to watch Klingon culture do its stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's so different from what the Federation does.
I don't know if it's always fun. Like, it wears on me a bit, but yeah. It's interesting in that it has such a deep sort of lore to it.
So that's Zach Dorn.
The ship is named the T'Pau?
Yes.
Wasn't that the Vulcan and Enterprise?
The Vulcan Enterprise is the young version, and then T'Pau also shows up as an older woman in the original series. So she was originally from TOS and they aged her down for Enterprise for some extra stuff. Origin story they gave her.
Oh, cool.
This sounds weird, but does it seem like the Enterprise bridge is shaped like the back of the ship, where like the railing reminds me of the saucer section, and then like the captain's chair is like the nacelle, the star drive section, and the armrests are little nacelles.
I think you're finding patterns where there are none.
No, yeah, there definitely isn't one. But
so this subplot with the Vulcan ships, it doesn't go nowhere. It might be a little unnecessary, but it gets a nice exposition and fills the runtime. The Zach Dorn are the same race we met in that season 2 episode where Data there's a war game.
No, don't make her do something.
Yeah, don't make Counselor Troy do the thing she's trained to do and specializes in.
I don't think her specialization is in using her feminine wiles on people. I don't think that's the thing.
Top left saucer section modified, including extra nacelles on it. Sorry.
And I was looking at some of those ships. There was one ship there that had a triangular primary hull. Kind of like the Discovery does. Much smaller nacelles, though. We'll have to go back after this and get a still shot of that and go over the ship models. Troy, what are you doing using your feminine wiles?
You're a very handsome woman. Why do they say that in the future?
I mean, Picard says that too.
Yeah, Picard says that. Right. Kirk says that.
And they call everyone sir too, and they're kind of making a point of ungendering.
Are you suggesting Star Trek writers might not know how to talk to women? That's
that's crazy.
Hang on, we have a couple women in the chat. Women in the chat, would you object to being called handsome? Would you have any issue with that?
I feel like the objection comes from being called handsome by the weird frog man who operates the shipyard that you're just trying to get to like look up one thing for you.
Well, that time that Captain Picard says it to a woman, that time he in Tapestry, where he's playing out his younger self, he calls a woman handsome and she throws a glass of water in his face. More ships? Same ships, actually. That was just the same shot, but shorter that time.
I appreciate how in the future we have no racism or poverty, but sexual harassment is still very much present.
I mean,
I'm still uncertain, by the way, from the last episode. Was Troy's weird chocolate thing from the game, or is that just her?
No, that's just her.
That's just her. That was before the game.
That's before she was exposed to the game.
In the YouTube chat,
we didn't see her get exposed. It was off screen. It could have been whenever.
Yeah, but when she was, but that was the first time we see Riker interact with Counselor Troy, and it's heavily implied that like he says he's going to show something he picked up to her later. So yeah, that was pre-game. That was just Troy.
I was gonna say in YouTube chat, Elizabeth said, "Don't call a woman handsome."
Well, Elizabeth, you're a very handsome woman.
Ooh.
I assume. No idea what you look like, but I assume you're very handsome.
There's also the word winsome.
And lose some?
Yes, but no.
I like all the models in the back. Like, look at that, the one behind the nacelle right now. Look at that.
That's a starbase.
Oh, man.
Look at all the, you get to spot them, like all these sliced up crops from other episodes.
How'd you like to go junk hunting on those?
I love this guy's makeup. He looks like he's melting.
A little bit.
He has gills.
But not here. On Discord. My name's on YouTube, but not Discord.
Must be there. How long can
this species, their whole thing is that they're known for their strategic minds. This guy's not very good at that.
Does this species appear in any episodes?
Oh yeah, they show up frequently, actually. They don't... Usually they're background characters, but we had one where, in the War Games episode, where Picard and Riker faced off in different ships.
Well, look at the one on the top. Look at the funky nacelle configuration on that one. Top right corner.
It's a bit weird. I don't think there's any triangles in this shipyard.
Someone was asking last time we saw the lights off.
Here it is. There's the lights off.
This scene is funny.
This scene is kind of neat.
The
shelf. So
yeah. What's exciting about that shipyard though is unlike most other scenes, you get to see kit-bashed Federation ships. And the only other time you get to see that is at Wolf 359.
I don't know. We see one particular kit bash ship more frequently than I would like, with a Maquis Raider main hull.
Oh yeah, the
Intrepid class
Jaeger
saucer.
class.
The Jaeger class. Maquis Raider Intrepid mash up.
Yeah, also obviously those ships weren't originally even close to being to scale to each other.
No. The saucer would be like 100 times the size of the Maquis Raider.
We just had a very distinct shine from Patrick Stewart's head.
Well, he's a shiny man.
That's the lights in there. That's the mice in the quarters they have.
Yeah.
He keeps himself
Shining
cleaned
lights.
up.
Personality.
So
And
this,
he's all cleaned
this
up.
scene here with data processing while Captain Picard's going to sleep. This reminds me of vintage computing. This is when you would set the process to run overnight and you would go to bed.
Oh yeah.
Data's rendering his Jonathan Frakes
What do you
deep
mean?
fakes.
What do you mean vintage? I do that all the time.
Yeah. You think you could just ask Data to turn around?
But he
Data
was turned
would-
around in the first place, and Picard was still freaked out. Now, the main thing of this episode is this turn right here, where he keeps staring. Like, no, Data, were you always this creepy, Data?
Data would
Yes,
be an
Dan
amazing
Sears, yes.
roommate. He doesn't
Asking
care
him
when you go to
second.
sleep. He doesn't require any space. He's incredibly quiet. He keeps the place clean. And literally has no emotions and is almost impossible to like.
And he
offend.
doesn't have to eat, so like he won't leave dirty dishes or
he doesn't really have friends that come over too often.
He
And
can
the
move
ones
his
that
hands at a
do are,
million
like,
miles an hour. He could wash the dishes real quick if he wanted.
Yeah,
to.
exactly. And he
He's
wouldn't
good at poker.
mind at all.
Yeah, there's a lot of benefits there. I was going to say real quick, that scene with Picard and Data in the room there. It's nice we get to see them do a little bit of a comedy shtick, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that doesn't happen too often.
Ironically,
Probably
seems
right before
weird,
the
though.
tragedy we're getting right now.
Yeah.
Yeah, very serious episode with some fun little comedy bits in it, I guess.
It's weird to think about it, but yeah, the Klingons, I feel like, honestly, are the best comic relief species in the franchise.
Especially in regard to tribbles.
Yeah.
Klingons aren't comedic. Klingons do not laugh.
Oh, yes, of course. And Klingons also never... They don't laugh, they don't play with toys, they don't cry, they do not allow themselves to be probed.
They don't procrastinate for sure.
Yeah.
Klingons laugh a ton.
Triangle.
That's
a triangle. That's a heavily modified triangle.
Oh, God. All right.
Ooh.
Triangle counter is up to 32 triangles.
And counting.
And counting.
What happens when we hit 100?
Then that...
We all get
phase
free
reveal?
hint.
I don't know. What do you want from me?
I don't know. Orion's edit custom video? I don't know. What do you got?
I don't got
So we
anything.
were-
I got like 7 different series of Star Trek, and Codpiece, you need to put an underscore before the Ryan. I don't know why I didn't type that in, but YouTube just put that in automatically.
You know what we should watch? We should watch the animated series from the
We will.
70s.
Mm-hmm.
We will.
I'm surprised that doesn't get talked about more often. Even though it's like they have the original cast, except for Chekhov, who's cut to save money,
Yeah.
So
and they could just do all sorts of bonkers episodes because it's a cartoon.
It's James Doohan's best work. I mean, he does multiple voices on that show.
So the fact that they weren't answering their call was hostile action, but not the fact that they were locking weapons on them before. That was fine.
Yeah.
Why is the
Yeah,
F
that's fine.
shields down more when
Don't worry
they
about
clearly shot at the front of the ship?
Because they're diverting power from the aft shields to the front shields.
Oh, I see. Can I just
How
say
did you
that,
destroy
like,
Phasor Ray if their shields were up and are still going? How do shields work? The answer, of course, to that question is occasionally.
who cares?
Jordy said
I
all
love
of
that
that.
part in Masks where, not Masks, the chase, where
Yeah.
they're like, Worf, blow up that ship's weapons array, and he's like, aye, sir. And he like accidentally blows up the entire ship, and they're like, WTF, Worf. And it's like,
And that's what
that
just
wasn't
happened here.
supposed to happen. Yeah.
Brent Spiner feeling pretty good about not having to wear full face makeup for a little bit anyway.
Yeah.
No, I think that's still full face makeup, just a different kind. There's no way Brent Spiner's that tan.
Oh,
Well,
yeah.
we're not getting genuine. We're not getting white light here anyway. This is really distorted light.
Yeah.
And they had and they have the standard issue super shoulder pads.
Yes.
People love the
Standard
shoulder
bowl cut,
pad.
standard shoulders. Very important.
Just to comment on something in the YouTube chat, I'll say what I always say when anyone suggests that we watch Threshold. You can watch Threshold. I will not watch Threshold.
You can watch Threshold.
The problem with Threshold is that when you watch Threshold, it's such a weird episode. Your body occupies every spot in the universe at the same time, and you turn into a lizard person.
Yeah, the problem I have with Threshold is like it tricks you into thinking it might be a good episode. Like it is kind of an interesting premise, and it starts out okay. But
Most of the episode's fine. It's just the weird lizard baby ending that ruins it.
Well, just the whole process, like when he's devolving and it's just
pepperoni.
It's some pretty good body horror.
It is, I guess.
Weird.
I don't know. Oh, I can't. The lizards.
The lizards are weird. I mean, it's
Lizards are
kind of funny too, but it is weird seeing that in the show.
I like Voyager because it seems almost as if they used up all the ideas that make sense between the original series and TNG and DS9.
There's a point where it's clear they're out of ideas, and it's like the ship can only get hijacked so many times in a season, you know?
Yeah, and so you have...
Season 7
like,
TNG is when it starts getting weird.
Yeah, and the weird episodes are great because they're completely insane. And then sometimes you end up with a weird episode like Tuvix, which makes no sense and somehow ends up amazing.
Yeah.
How about that episode where the doctor programmed a family for himself, and then B'Elanna just killed his daughter?
What about the one where he becomes an opera singer?
No Klingon friends.
Yeah. What about the opener where like it's the cold open of the episode is like the doctor singing opera at like a talent show, and then Tuvok goes into heat, and so he like continues singing opera.
Don't you be using that in a list of bad episodes. That's one of the best episodes. Tinker, Tenor, Dr. Spy.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Or the one
which
with
Bill hasn't seen because it was after 7 was introduced. Let's go back and watch it.
Yeah.
Look at that low-res picture of Patrick Stewart.
Wait.
So that's Proconsul Neural there. We do meet Proconsul Neural later in DS9 and again in Nemesis. But he's somehow way older there.
Kind of looks like Kevin Nealon from Saturday Night Live.
It's not,
this guy is like maybe in his 30s. In DS9 and Nemesis, he's more like late 50s. And he's a Romulan, so you know he aged like 60 years in that time instead of just 20.
On the subject of like bad episodes, I don't know. I always picture season 7 TNG writers just sitting in a room, like laying back in their chairs, just completely out of ideas, and then one guy just goes, "Scottish Ghost." You're like, okay.
Okay, on the stream, here's what Proconsul Neural looks like. I think this is the DS9 episode. It might be Nemesis, but I think this is DS9. It's the same actor in any case. He's just way older.
Yeah.
No, Data, you are so bad. How are you this bad? At Subterfuge. Legal what does that mean? What's a legal intercessor?
It's a very important part of the Romulan legal cultural system that we never see too much of. So don't ask questions.
Hang on. Legal dictionary. A intercessor is one who goes between or intercedes, a mediator, one who interposes between. So basically he's a mediator. He does some arbitration.
I like how
in
DS9 they do multiple episodes where basically they go to Bajoran court and the Bajoran word for a judge is changed multiple times.
Well, why would you have seen them there before? If they just showed up to talk to the dude. What do people from Autek sound like?
This is like Oblivion NPC dialogue.
And this
Where are
sort
you
of
from?
conversation is going to be referenced kind of back in Picard, where the Romulans
Where
are
he does the
complaining about the
pirate voice.
Romulan Northerners with a different accent.
Oh. It's weird how Picard and a lot of the new stuff knows so much random apocryphal information that they skillfully incorporate into their show with like a lot of nuance, but at the same time, it's the new stuff and the writing is insane. I'm sorry, I don't want to go on. This is about TNG.
What are they eating here?
They're eating soup.
Applesauce, baby food.
Okay.
It's Did they say what it is actually? I don't think
It's
they did.
multi-meal.
Just enjoy your soup. It kind of looks like liquid cornmeal.
Cream of wheat.
Yeah, I was going to
Could
say
be.
hummus, but yeah, I think it's more.
I love cream of wheat.
Yeah. Well, I don't know.
God, I haven't had cream of wheat since I was a kid. I should get some cream of wheat.
I was gonna say you should get some again.
I don't even remember
Yeah,
what it tastes
we're
like.
level, man. Come
There we
on.
go. Sir Patrick Stewart with different hairstyles.
I was going to say Sir Patrick Stewart with somehow significantly worse acting in that one
Hey,
shot.
look, it's 5 lights.
It is 5 lights. But more
It's in a
importantly,
cave
it's
and
that same
everything.
cave set.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh God.
He was right. Golmasek was right the whole time.
This isn't
Hey,
Cardassian, this is Romulus.
Oh yes, a completely different police state empire that's very deceitful and controlled by autocracy that has
the
large
Romulans are more like
dissident
Russian
movement.
KGB, Cardassians more like Nazi SS.
I was going to say they got money for Nimoy, so they had to save money on sets.
The sets still in this episode are pretty good. I'm really surprised how good some of these sets are.
Hey, you gotta be creative with episodic TV, man. You reuse what you
exactly.
can, redress it, relight it, do whatever you got to do, right?
Yeah, they got their money's worth out of Planet Hell.
All right, 1 minute to the next episode, Unification Part 2.
This is rated TV PG for sex and fear, Netflix says.
Now, make sure you don't skip the intro, don't skip the recap.
Sex and fear.
Let's see how it lines up.
Netflix
I'm really scared of the Pardac.
What does
Netflix rates seasons as a single entity, so like if there is an
Yeah.
episode with sex and fear in a season, every episode gets that rating.
I assume that was referencing the game.
Oh my God.
Set rated 12.
I'm gonna put that on my dating profile.
Are we gonna have an issue with Netflix auto skipping the recap?
If you're on Netflix, try pressing play right now just to make sure it doesn't auto skip and then circle back. 10 seconds. Everybody be ready to press play. In 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, play. You can also just like resync based on the timestamp.
Yeah.
Oh, Gene Roddenberry died again.
So we are gonna do not press skip recap. Absolutely do not do that. So we are gonna see the triangle ship again, but it's gonna be the same triangle, so it doesn't count. It only counts once.
Jeez, how much do you watch these?
I saw it in the thing when I was scrolling on Amazon right now.
Ah.
I was going to say, how do you know the episodes that well?
I don't. Oh, hey Tracy. This
The
is an
animated
episode
series-
where, like, if I'm driving somewhere, I might have it playing the audio. You know, something I know very well, so I don't need to actually see it to know what's happening.
TNG is like my comfort show, but it's like the fancy comfort show where if you want to watch it, you have to make an occasion out of it, and you can't have stuff going on in the background. Voyager's the background show.
The animated series episode "Yesterday Is Tomorrow," where
just sped up the destruction there.
Where Spock goes back in time and meets himself as a child.
Yeah.
Going out into the wilderness with the family pet. Mm-hmm. That's considered, I think, the best episode of the animated series.
Yeah.
And there's a scene there where Sarek speaks to his son about what it means to be a Vulcan, what it means to be a human.
Well, conclusion for now.
They reused that for Star Trek 2009 in a very good way.
What I like about Star Trek is that the canon is kind of nebulously defined, and so they're able to keep the good parts of stuff like the animated series.
This is definitely a clash here between TOS style and TNG style, where Spock is it's like, I'm just doing my own thing. What do you mean? I'm my own person. I'll do whatever I want, and Starfleet can just deal with it. Picard's like, no, that's not how it works, and we don't do that anymore. We have a bureaucracy now. We didn't file the proper paperwork for this.
Yeah, I love Picard's playing the Spock role, the Spock, where it's like, you illogical Vulcans and your impulsive diplomacy.
Wow. That's wild, but you're right.
No, like Star Trek 6 is all about Spock's impulsive diplomacy. Only Nixon can go to China.
6 was the one about them murdering the Chancellor, right?
Yeah. Yeah, but he volunteered. He's the the liaison or whatever for the Klingon Empire, and cooperating with Starfleet. But he volunteers Kirk. Like, he doesn't even ask him; he just volunteers him. It's like, yeah, that's impulsive diplomacy.
I would have done the thing they do in like First Contact, where they put like Captain Kirk on the neutral zone to keep him as far away from the stuff as possible, because he's he's just followed by a cloud of problems.
That's a very interesting line there, where Spock turns away and thinks, and then turns back and says, "Walk with me, Picard.
Walk with me through the linear cave set."
If they hung out more, would he start calling Picard by his first name too? Like he does Jim?
Can we say that this is probably the best original series cameo?
Yeah.
I could agree with that.
Yeah.
I would say so.
Relics wasn't bad.
Yeah.
And maybe like Dr. McCoy in
okay,
I guess
Dr.
none
McCoy
of
bit
them
was weird.
Yeah, none of them are bad per se, but they're not super great.
Who else do we get? Oh, TOS cameo if we consider the Korkang and Koloth in DS9.
Oh yeah, that's good too. But dare I say that none of those characters are as well written and interesting as Spock is.
But they got cosmetic surgery to get their forehead ridges back.
Dr. Pulaski is technically in the original series as well.
Wait, is she?
She's
the
a nurse, isn't she?
The actress is in TOS. She's not the same character. But she
Okay.
plays two parts in TOS.
Okay.
And then, of course, you have Michael Dorn making a cameo in Undiscovered Country.
Yeah, he plays Kirk's attorney.
Yeah, and you see a couple of the Next Generation sets also being reused in Star Trek 6.
I got one. Christian Slater in Star Trek 6.
Who's
That's
that?
crazy. Christian Slater. Oh, he was like, it was a bizarre cameo because it was the early 90s and he was red hot. Like, he was one of the biggest actors in Hollywood at the time. But his mom was the casting director for Star Trek 6 and just was like, hey, do you want to just have this walk-on role where you go wake up Sulu? And he's like, yeah, okay.
I'm looking at pictures of him on Google. I have no idea who this man is.
Oh my god.
Not a clue.
He's in Heather, he's in Pop Up Volume, he's on Mr. Robot.
Nope, means nothing to me.
Okay. All right,
Hilarious.
you might be a little too young, but yeah, he was big in the 90s. I'll say that.
He's a big 90s artist.
I was not big in the 90s. I was very small in the 90s.
Yeah, he was Leonardo DiCaprio before Leonardo DiCaprio became.
That's a good way to put it. Yeah, he was like the big heartthrob. Yeah.
I was involved with cowboy diplomacy long before you were born, young man.
I feel like cowboy diplomacy is kind of an oxymoron where they're like, we're recklessly going to buck the system and then sign a multilateral agreement after a thorough series of mediation and reasoning.
In the original series, they just get this really important representative and then say, well, we'll just have to find another woman to do this job.
As always, don't skip the intro.
Do not skip the intro.
So
we need to look at fake molten Saturn again.
We need to look at the weird 90s depiction of the galaxy.
Fake molten Saturn, everybody watch Between the Rings. Just the entire right side of the screen, the stars as it pans away to the left. Stay perfectly still compared to everything else.
The lost stars of Saturn's ring.
And so it was the solar system in like the original version of the credit, but then when they redid it, they just changed it to generic planets, right? Yeah, that makes more sense.
Yeah, we always have to point out the stars because that's the only thing happening in the credits.
Mm-hmm. And when did they? I forget which seasons have the. I don't know what to call it, like the flared text instead of just the flat
video
text, like what we're seeing here.
It's called a video tunnel.
Oh, okay.
It was invented, I think, in the mid 1970s. At least that's the first time I've ever seen it from stuff from that era.
Riker's Season 1 diplomacy with that outfit he wears in Angel 1, I think we could have done without that diplomacy.
Was that cowboy diplomacy?
Yeah.
What about the TOS episode where they go to the cowboy planet? Is that cowboy diplomacy?
Kinda.
Oh, Gear Check 101 says that Season 1 and 2 had the solar system, 3 had alien planets, and only 5 has the sparkly text.
Guest stars Stephen Root, who plays somebody, I assume. I don't know who that is.
It's him right there.
Oh, Norman Large. I know him. He plays a few characters throughout Star Trek. I don't know who he plays here. Oh, he's Proconsul Naral, I think.
Yeah, he is.
He also plays a telepath species later on.
Yeah, he's done a lot of sci-fi.
Denise Crosby guest stars in this episode.
That's right.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Thanks for the spoilers credit sequence.
Yeah, this two-parter has tons of guest stars. Like they must have spent a lot of budget on this.
Yeah.
Denise really regretting leaving the show.
Yeah.
Making her way back.
But yeah, this is Stephen Root. I think he especially for some reason looks really great with the Klingon makeup.
Well, she left because she was given nothing to do. When she asked to be given something to do, they were like, no.
That's fine. There are several characters who have nothing to do throughout the entire series, and they stuck around.
Yeah, well, she's a bridge crew member. It was a bit different.
So Data was just able to successfully negotiate with a Klingon. That's pretty good.
Klingons in this episode are fairly rational.
Looks like a high chance of rain on the Romulan capital city.
Yeah. Or like
beautiful landscape.
They're like they ask the Klingons to do something. The Klingons might have like a fairly understandable degree of confusion, or like them not wanting to do that. And then the Federation's like, there's actually a very clear rationale that benefits both of us if you do what we say. And they're like, well, I guess we can do that then.
So how come we don't have a cool catchphrase like Joe Lantrue? We just say hello or goodbye, but Joe Lantrue you can use for anything.
Well, no, Jolan
How
True
are you
means
feeling today? Jolan True. Okay, cool.
it means peace be with you, right? They established that in Picard, Star Trek Picard.
I don't remember, but I'll take your word for it.
It's so great to see Leonard Nimoy in this role in this series.
Yeah.
Like, he's just so comfortable in the character.
You said that I'm looking at him in the nunchucks.
Yeah, well, that character too is pretty great.
Leonard Nimoy's best role was singing Bilbo.
Yes.
Bilbo Baggins, the bravest little hobbit of them all.
It was from back in the 60s. I don't know, no, like the 70s or 80s when William Shatner and Leonard Nimoy had a contest to see who could have the worst musical career.
Hey, that was a great song.
Yeah, Shatner won that one.
He did?
He might be worse because he doesn't even sing. He just says words.
I unironically like his album that was produced by Ben Folds, though. It's mostly covers, but it's really a great album.
I remember I found a clip on YouTube of somebody who was at a convention, and Leonard Nimoy was the guest there. And I don't know how big the room was, but it seemed to be pretty small. And the person who was filming this with their phone was up in the front row, and they asked if he could sing any songs. So he started singing the Ballad of Bilbo Baggins for everybody.
Oh, Bilbo Baggins.
Has anyone seen? I'm sure most of you guys probably have, but the monorail episode of The Simpsons where Nimoy guest stars.
I have not. Tell me about it.
Oh man, he's like the celebrity guest on the maiden voyage of this monorail, and at the end, like, you know, the monorail goes out of control, but like Homer saves the day, and at the end, Nimoy's like, "Well, I guess my job here is done." They're like, "What do you mean? I didn't do it. You didn't do anything." And he goes, "Well, didn't I?" And then he beams away.
Well, that was Futurama.
No, he was on Futurama too, but yeah, he's in the monorail episode of The Simpsons.
Their first real Vulcan. You're the same species. Come on.
Bardak.
I guess he means culturally. No, Vulcans always say that they have to suppress their emotions, otherwise they just murder everyone. But Romulans are literally just Vulcans who don't suppress their feelings, and they seem fine.
Yeah, they're.
Well, but it's not
very rational, if a little manipulative.
Soma,
but it's not
I can hear you, but you're
yeah.
very quiet. I know you said something, but I don't know what.
You see, an Enterprise that is theoretically possible, though it just doesn't work with that group.
What in the
Right.
world?
Oh, this is a weird cantina scene.
It is.
Oh, it's the fish guy again. Or a member of his species.
Yeah, it's Zach. What is that guy's hair?
Is this the cave set? This is the cave set. Isn't it?
For using the cave set.
Maybe not. I don't know.
There's absolutely another person just
Andorian
hanging out
blue.
behind her.
Because the Andorians are blue. You want to buy some death sticks?
But she called it salt. Is it actually salt, or is that like a euphemism for the drug?
Bullshooter.
It was nice. Well,
It's a very look.
I'm surprised that they're kind of pulling off the space cantina thing from Star Wars, though. Like it feels off, but it's close enough.
Scum and villainy,
very different
man.
feel. It's a very different kind of cantina. It even has motion at the front door.
It doesn't. No, it doesn't resemble the cantina from episode 7. From episode 4.
Oh, we all know that all cantinas that ever appear in science fiction space dramas are all just ripping off.
There is no currency in TNG.
Oh yeah, but they even redid it in
Sometimes there
episode
is.
6. And the inside of Jabba's palace is, I think, what this is supposed to look like more than the cantina.
Yeah. You know what I mean. It's trying to do what Star Wars did.
Oh, I think I saw a cat person off to the left. cat person we see in an earlier episode from season 1. I don't know what they're called.
It's so obviously not Frakes' hand.
No, you can't. You're very busy, John.
Oh.
Romulus are pretty nice.
Get Michael Dorn singing
massive
terrible.
matte painting.
Well, I know that when they switched to 3D models with the new stuff, obviously it looks better, but there's something very charming about the matte paintings.
Yeah, I like it too.
So
I'm an old man.
Is Spock allowed to be on Romulus? Because it seemed like he was hiding out before. The proconsul couldn't know he was there. Does he have a passport? Does he have a visitor's pass?
I think he smuggled on, but
allowed.
eventually, he built up a large enough positive reputation where he was eventually able to publicize his appearance.
He's definitely there without the Federation permission. He's not allowed to be there from their perspective.
Yeah, he's doing cowboy diplomacy.
I mean, as we know, the Romulans want him here. But
I like his little cupcake-shaped urns on his desk. They look very tasty.
And that, of course, is Norman. Norman Large. It's pretty cool. And he's going to get replaced later as the proconsul.
It does. I don't remember how far later, but it does.
DS9, I think it's the first episode we see him again is Inter Arma Enim Sealan Legis. Which may or may not be how you pronounce that in Latin, I have no idea. But the episode where Bashir goes to that medical conference with Section 31. That one.
Yeah, once again he went on a conference and got abducted on a shuttlecraft.
It wasn't even on the shuttle. They were on the Bellerophon, the ship.
Oh, yeah.
The Romans just pulled him into a side room and tortured him.
Dr. Bashir was going to a medical conference and got abducted by Section 31.
Oh, yeah, that was a different time he was abducted by Section 31.
Once again, shuttlecraft transports, when you take a shuttlecraft from one star to another, you're either going to get abducted mid-flight or you're going to return and something terrible has happened where the ship's been frozen in time, or you're a replicant, or everything's been taken over by the virtual boy.
And in that episode, if you look very carefully at the Bellerophon, it's hard to see because it's DS9 in very low resolution, but it's just Voyager. It has the name. I think it has the name.
I think they changed the name on the model, where if you see
they
the
might have
CG
changed the name.
model,
I think it might have been the number that was the same.
Oh, okay. I think
in any
the
case,
name's
it's very
different on
obvious
the
it's just
interior
Voyager
shots.
because it's the same.
Oh yeah, obviously,
it's the
because
same
the
model.
interiors are exactly the same.
And the interiors technically. Oh, hey, Denise.
Crosby, the peak best of Star Trek.
She's got a Faye Valentine haircut from Cowboy Bebop.
That's nice.
Technically, the scene on the Bellerophon doesn't make sense because they used the mess hall, but the mess hall was originally the captain's private eating room that they just repurposed for Voyager because space reasons.
I was gonna say it's Voyager's now. I mean, that's Captain Jamie's
Yeah, it's
personal
Captain
area
Janeway's
now.
private dining room, and then Neelix broke in and started making onion soup. And Jamie was
we
like,
can just
Neelix, why do you have to do this to me?
we can just pretend that it was repurposed for the Bellerophon, that room.
I just looked at the Memory Alpha page for the Bellerophon and Voyager. They definitely have different registry numbers, but they're
They
close.
do. Interesting. Do they have anything that makes them indicate the same other than they're obviously Intrepid class?
I don't see anything in particular, no.
Okay, so I was just lying to you. Fantastic.
Just making stuff up.
Making stuff up. I have been accused of that a lot recently with some videos.
Ryan, you snake. We all know that we can't trust you.
Did you guys know? I was just informed of this on that video. I didn't know this was the case, but apparently, if I think that women shouldn't be possessed and murdered, that makes me a simp. I wasn't aware of this, but apparently that's how it works.
Wow. Perfect sense. Any recognition of gender equality is simping.
I mean, it might be a little difficult for me to get into a relationship with Commissioner Nancy Hedford, considering if the actress isn't dead by now, she's very old.
Yeah.
But, you know.
And also and also the character isn't real.
Yes. Well, I mean the actress. The actress is real.
How do we know?
Well, we have her on video.
No, that was actually an animatronic puppet.
That's why it was okay to murder and possess her, because she wasn't a real person.
The character was made up for the TV show and never existed, but also the actress who played the character was made up for the TV show and never existed.
That's generally how TV shows work.
Yeah, exactly. Like Patrick Stewart is just an actor playing Patrick Stewart, the actor.
Okay, breaking some cipher codes. This should be good. Very exciting hacking. Is this 4chan? The hacker?
No, data traits 4chan here.
Ah. A 43-part cipher key into their entry sequence. I don't actually really know what that means. I don't know enough about information security. Or maybe it doesn't mean anything. I don't know.
Like we know it's obviously ciphers are a real thing in computer encryption. And I guess what they're saying here is they use 43 different encryption methods.
No, it's a 43-part encryption.
Oh, okay.
So yeah, it would probably be
whatever a part is.
Times
That's the thing that's not clear.
Yeah, I feel like
Someone, could you say that again? I couldn't hear you.
They're probably using 43 different ciphers to jumble the code.
Just have a 43-part key, though. Like, that's just one key.
They're trying to steal all of the Romulans' Bitcoin to spend it on 4chan.
No, they're trying to spend it on GameStop stops.
It's Dogecoin. Come on.
Yeah, they're trying to steal all of the Romulan Dogecoins from the darknet.
Yeah, are there any Star Trek themed cryptocurrencies? Is there such a thing as like a Spock coin?
I'm sure there is. Like, I have my own cryptocurrency. That's how easy they are to make.
Alright, I found Spock coin. It is currently worth 0.0076.
Oh my god.
What does that mean? United States dollars or
yes? It's worth 0.76 US cents.
Wow,
I don't know where you can buy Spock coin. It's probably not listed on the larger exchanges, but apparently that's what it's worth.
You buy it on a Spock exchange.
Klingon.
I don't think I need my own cryptocurrency. I think I'm okay.
When we hit 100 triangle ships, somebody gets someone randomly gets chosen to get 100 Spock coin.
Can we introduce triangle ships as a cryptocurrency?
Christ.
If you want to mine triangle coin, you just have to have an AI that goes through every episode of Star Trek and identifies triangles correctly. That's how it's mined.
I love this scene.
It's a very limited supply.
Yeah.
I feel like Garth was always demanding.
I feel like we're in a Bugs Bunny cartoon here watching this opera imitation.
Yeah.
Worf loves his Klingon. He'll get much better at singing in DS9.
Worf is the best. comic relief character in Star Trek.
Oh, it absolutely is.
What do you mean? He was very serious in the game when he popped up in the hallway.
These outfits are no joke.
Yeah, Worf slithering after you in the Jeffries tube.
I was going to say the singer lady's played by.
He's not fat, he's big boned.
The singer lady is such a great alien compared to some of the other one-off aliens we have, where she is like clever makeup and she feels like unique to
the way they don't disguise
setting, and
themselves
she has
at all.
4 arms.
So
Yeah.
who's the actress?
Her name is Harriet C. Leiter. She passed away in 2004 at the age of 59. She did a lot, a dozen TV roles in the 90s, but not a whole lot else. But yeah, really great performance here.
That woman with the dark hair, she's a Bajoran, isn't she?
Is she?
It's kind of hard to tell with the lighting, but she has a crinkled nose.
Yeah.
I'm gonna run it back.
Vulcans.
No, they're
It's
not.
hard to
Vulcans
tell.
are
It's
not
more on her-
pacifists.
It's on her forehead more than it is on her.
The woman in the gold dress looks like a dinosaur head.
It's like the Super Mario Brothers movie.
God, how much is he paying these women to laugh at his jokes?
My fidget me.
It's gotta be a lot. Does Riker have the authority to do that?
Interrogation scene is kind of weak sauce.
No, he made up for it by dabbing his mouth.
Stretching his neck. How does that even work?
Nice.
It's like what Worf. It's like what Worf would do. Worf would do that.
I think he means on his clothes.
Frank, you're just stretchy.
Is that a triangle ship there at the bottom?
Is it? No. That's a different kind of triangle. You got my hopes up, Soma.
You're looking for that specific ship each time.
It's one specific triangle. It can be heavily modified, but it needs to be the same base model. Now, I know we always say for streams that 2-parters count as one, and we just watch all the parts together. We are not going to be watching Unification Part 3 today. That's a different series. 2-parters don't count as one episode if they're in different series.
That'd be a 3-parter.
God, is Data going to make some comment about why would we be chasing undomesticated fowl through the system?
Well, he does say in another episode he was chasing an untamed ornithoid without cause.
Ah, of course he was.
And my still wants to take it at your front door.
Yeah, you never really want to get in the way of an untamed ornithoid. They're very aggressive. Galornding Core. Galornding Core. Oh, that's from the episode The Enemy, where the Romulans were hanging out.
Yeah, I knew it rung a bell. I wasn't sure if it was from another episode or when I saw this episode previously.
So yeah, that checks out. It's previously the Romulans were hanging out there. Now they're using it as like a secret trade thing. I feel like they should not be using it as a secret trade thing since they were discovered there, but they're going to keep doing it.
There's an old late 90s next generation first-person shooter, I think it is, where the Galornding Core is one of the levels.
Okay.
Hey, he's
Like
got
Romulans there?
base. Yeah, it's a Romulan base.
It's interesting this episode is called Unification, but each time they say it, it's reunification.
That's true.
Yeah, that feels like a note. Like, just call it Unification.
On this shot right here, look at the bottom of the screen when it's the close-up of Spock's hands. There's something on the camera lens. At the very bottom. And now it bugs me. Not here. On the hand shot. No, we're not going to get it again.
Is he holding the dice?
Yeah, I'm running it back.
Oh, I'm a few seconds ahead of you.
I am at 3047, 3048, 3049, 3050.
Where on the camera lenses?
It was right at the very bottom center. On the edge of the frame. There was like, I don't know, it kind of looked like...
I'm not sure. I didn't see it, honestly. It might not be on there.
I checked to make sure it's not just on my screen. It's only... It's on the video. Yeah, we can get a screenshot after. It's fine.
Is it coming up? Is it still coming up?
No.
That camera shot, no.
Yeah.
But Denise is coming up. Well, she's coming down, actually. But, hey, Denise.
Yeah, she's coming down. Yeah, really, yeah.
Denise Crosby is...
You don't respect androids. You hate androids, remember? Androids and cybernetics don't exist in your society.
Spock.
My God, Spock.
It's weird, like, Denise Crosby left Star Trek to pursue a movie career, but, like, the only movie I can remember her being in is Pet Cemetery. I can't remember.
Yeah, it was a bad... I mean, I don't know if it was really a bad decision, like, it was strictly wrong, but it didn't work out.
Yeah, like if you were in season 1 of The Next Generation, you might kind of want to jump off that.
It wasn't good.
I mean, she had, a security blanket. She's from an entertainment family. She's actually Bing Crosby's granddaughter.
Oh, really? I never knew that.
So random.
So we mentioned
Apparently,
Star Trek.
Senator Pardek's actor was also the voice of a Telosian in the original TOS pilot The Cage, so he has acted with Leonard Nimoy before. Because Spock was in that.
So we mentioned a Next Generation first-person shooter earlier. What are your guys' thoughts on Star Trek video games?
I think a first-person shooter is definitely not the right style.
No.
So you would say that, but one of the best Star Trek video games that I've ever played is actually a first-person shooter based on Quake 3 Arena. It's the Voyager Elite Force game. It was a really good game.
I probably haven't played a Star Trek video game since like the old MS DOS, personal computer one, which was really fun and like had a very elaborate.
Oh, I remember that.
Yeah.
How is Rick suspicious right now?
He's very suspicious. He's just a suspicious man.
Yeah.
I think we can, in my opinion, the best Star Trek video game is Mass Effect 2. And it's I like the Bridge Commander stuff. I've never played it, but those FMV games with the sets and the actors from the 90s honestly seem like one of the best ways you can make a Star Trek video game.
Star Trek Conquest is my favorite.
There's also the game Stellaris, which has the mod for Star Trek, New Civilizations.
Yeah, that one's good.
It's pretty good Star Trek mod for Empire at War.
Yeah,
that brings up the Armada games, which were actually pretty good too. The RTS games.
Oh yeah. It's hard to transition to the format because everyone's favorite parts of the show are generally just people standing around and talking.
So, speaking of parts of the show about people standing around and talking, this is really stupid from Sela. Why is she doing any of this? Don't explain your plan.
Because the audience needs to know what's going on.
Don't explain your plan to anyone. Just arrest them and keep them in a cell, or just kill them. You don't need Spock anymore. You have the hologram, and there's no way you actually believe he'll read out the statement and answer questions. There's no way you think that.
I forgot. Can Vulcans lie, or was that just a thing
the fact
made up?
Vulcans
for
not
the
being able to
Enterprise
lie is a
incident?
lie.
Oh, okay. I forgot how that episode went. I just remember the Vulcan death grip.
Vulcans can lie, but humans can't lie. At least they shouldn't lie.
This is a good line, though.
They have
It's very likely to kill us anyway. I failed to see the point. Well, I kind of mixed in a doctor line there. But the doctor from Voyager does the same things. Like, since you'll very likely deactivate me anyway, I fail to see the point of cooperating with you.
Yeah.
I think that was from the episode where he transfers to the Prometheus.
Yeah, I like that
And
one.
meets Andy Dick.
They've done exactly
Yeah,
what you've done
yeah.
with the deep fakes, Ryan. They deep faked Spock.
I have
Yeah.
not attempted to overthrow a government with my deepfakes.
I love the sentence, we have created a programmable Spock.
Yes.
Where's
Programmable
Where's
Spock.
the arm?
Oh, what a versatile program you've created.
Yeah, Vulcans absolutely lie. You can never trust them.
It's just usually the most logical course to tell the truth, but like that doesn't mean that they're always going to do it.
You know, the Vulcans engineer scenarios where they don't need a lie.
It works to their benefit if other people think they literally can't lie.
You're right. That itself is a useful deception.
They're similar to Sir Mix-a-Lot in that both of them cannot lie.
About big butts, yeah.
Yeah.
Message in the bottle.
Oh yeah, can Sir Mix-a-Lot lie about other things or just about how much he likes big butts?
Why would Tasha leave them alone in that room? What is she doing? What are you
I was going to say,
doing,
there's one
Denise?
in Star Trek 6 where Valeris keeps asking Spock if he's lying, and he's like, it's not a lie, it's an error, or it's an omission. It's, he's...
Well, that's
It's
lying
totally
by
a lie,
omission,
Spock.
Spock. You're smart. You know what lies are.
Yeah, he's just spinning it a certain way. So that's kind of how I picture it. Like, Vulcans lie, but they'll call it something.
Like, can we get
Message
that
in the
Picard speech
bottle.
in here where he says a lie of omission is still a lie?
You should cross-cut those.
Message in the bottle is the one Andy Dick is EMH Part 2. And that's when he and him, the EMH Mark 1, the doctor, retake the ship. That's EMH Mark 2 and EMH Mark 1. That's Message in the Bottle.
Right.
Fun episode.
Yeah, I
I
like
like
that
the-
episode.
I like the Prometheus, even if it was kind of silly.
The whole execution of this is
I like the Prometheus too. Nothing wrong about that.
I mean,
But
the
did they just
design of the
hide behind, like-
Prometheus, where it's just,
Oh, wait,
we
I
made a
know
cool
how this
ship. It's
works.
split into 3 parts, and it has guns on every part, and it has separate warp. It sounds kind of like a teenager developed it.
Yeah, like why don't you just develop like 3 different ships?
Also, Riker, your hair isn't like that. What are you doing?
It was
Or
kind
more
of
specifically, Data, what are you doing?
Romulan hair.
Cool Federation
Wait.
ship.
I just figured out the spikes on the Romulans. It's specifically there to try to limit Vulcan nerve pinches. It doesn't work, but that's what it's for.
That's actually a very clever use. They hid themselves behind a holographic wall.
Yeah, that's what
Yes.
it's.
Added to the real wall. That's a clever use of
Yeah, it's
holograms.
a clever episode.
There's another instance of Data just screwing with people because he definitely knows exactly what Riker's hair
Yes.
looks like.
Yeah.
He repeats, he says
Apparently
many times.
It was improvised, right? Just needed something to fool them for a couple seconds.
Yeah, I think so.
But he
Star
says many
Trek-
times, I will remember every detail of this encounter perfectly, with perfect clarity.
Why
because I
did she
am
have to come up
android."
to the bridge to say this?
Yeah.
And
Star
yeah,
Trek
that's
needs to stop. Star Trek villains need to stop holding the protagonists inside their headquarters, where like the stop evil plot button is just through a pair of locked doors and down a hallway.
Yeah, it's very James Bond.
Why is Dr. Crusher the one who got the call? Surely if they're getting a distress signal, they'd get it on the bridge.
Yeah.
Why did she have to come up to the bridge to do it?
Yeah.
There's a separate like 911 dispatcher in the saucer section somewhere.
Beverly's a high-ranking officer, though, right? Maybe she is privy to.
Yeah,
Does
Yeah,
this
he's
bit
commander.
only exist to give, what's her name? Gates McFadden a line?
That's very possible too. Yeah, just get her in the scene somehow.
A Romulan invasion force.
Love the music here.
and that's how
Very true.
holograms actually work. That's how the hologram effects. That's how the hologram effect usually work.
Oh, there's an outtake there that we might get at some point, where instead of just saying 14 minutes, sir, he says 14 minutes, sir. I don't know why, but that's what he does. That's the whole thing. Just weirdly dramatic.
And they're like, we've captured Spock. And they're like, oh, put Spock on a fucking bus to the moon. Get him out of here.
Kill Spock, Data, and Picard as soon as you find them. Just kill them.
Yeah. We hate these people. And definitely
smiled
don't just
there.
lock them into my
Flagrant violation of canon. Disgusting.
This
Yeah,
would,
let's notice that.
this would be like if like if you're trying to attack America, you like get captured and they hold you like captive inside the Oval Office.
You're right. That does sound very silly.
I
You
love
put it
this.
that way.
I love this blocking where they have Frakes step into scene here.
Those are... That's just a Daenerys painted gray. What are those transports?
Those are the Vulcan ships.
But they're just a Daenerys painted gray.
Whoa.
They're really not, but yeah.
Oh no!
I don't think Vulcans use that kind of design though. They have the ring ships.
That is like the later design of the ring ships.
Oh.
Stand down, red alert. There's a cloaked ship right out there.
Don't worry about it.
Yeah.
They're not battling.
They're the,
What do you mean Pardek never saw these caves? It's just the same cave.
It's every cave.
And why would Pardek as their leader not have seen these caves?
Now, I have to say here that this episode is called Unification. They guest starred Leonard Nimoy. It was such a big production that and Denise Crosby and lots of others, and they made it a 2-part episode. Does this plot point here of the desire of unification ever come up again, ever in any future Star Trek?
Yes, Discovery Season 3.
Yes.
Yeah, I was going to say, it's a very direct sequel.
Okay.
It's literally titled Unification Part 3.
Yeah, it's the same title.
Oh, okay. I haven't gotten to that.
oh, that's crazy.
Yeah.
It
Literally only comes up in Discovery, but it does come up there.
They
Yes.
bring it up in Nemesis too, where like at the end of like in Nemesis and in DS9 and even in like the Abrams stuff, they're like
I imagine it's probably mentioned in
Romulans are
Picard,
kind of chill. Yeah.
but I don't remember any specific instance. I just get a feeling that it is.
This episode came out right around when Star Trek 6 came out, and I don't think Star Trek 6 mentions the events of this episode. I think maybe the episode mentions what happened in Star Trek 6. But
The films are deliberately separated from the TV series.
They do. There is some reference though, but I can't recall what it is or what it is.
Well, that was when they first met Spock at the start of this part, and he said, I volunteered James Kirk for that mission, and I had to take responsibility for what happened.
That's what it was. Yeah, I totally missed that.
I have to take responsibility for what happened to Captain Kirk, even though the mission was a complete success.
Right. Okay. Yeah. Which is kind of neat, but it's not quite.
Can't I do this on the Enterprise?
No.
No,
yeah, I hate it when we have these great scenes with good acting and good writing and good that have been built up to, and you're supposed to be feeling feelings, but we have us just riffing on everything.
Yeah, I mean that's the thing of like a watch along where you have voice chat.
Yeah. Which is why I'm kind of glad they've cut a lot of those scenes from the new stuff.
All right, so we were talking for a bit about Star Trek games. Here's a Star Trek game that I do occasionally. You just launch the mission. It's a 4-player game.
Which true.
Hurry up! I probably should have preloaded this if I was going to show it.
So you've got the Enterprise D on the display, and you're in the
Captain's log supplemental.
2009.
The board cube is hot on our trail. They have
The
regenerative and
TNG
adaptive capabilities unlike
Next
anything.
Generation content was DLC for Bridge Commander, and it was kind of nailed on at
The
the
arrival
last
of the
minute.
Borg cube disrupted shipping operations
neat.
throughout the trench.
Is this
Arm the
a-
torpedoes, please.
Is this
Full
a
stop at the
fan
helm.
page?
No, this is a...
No, this is a proper game.
It just looks weird because it was built for VR.
Oh.
Power to shields, please. Specifically, well, this isn't in VR. It's made for VR, but I'm not playing in VR because, I'm doing a watch
Why
along.
the interface is a little weird.
So yeah, it's intended to be a 4-player game, so you can just... Now I'm the helm. Because normally you would have just a person being the helm.
We are the Borg. We will add your biological
And you can
Turn the ship
use
around.
AI to give
our own.
the
Resistance is futile.
the other crew members' commands vocally somehow.
Not anymore, that got removed.
Oh, okay. That was the
I could focus the Borg cube in the view screen. Well, let's see. Flight, if you would kindly approach the Borg cube. Let me get over to the tactical area.
With just the Enterprise D.
Just the Enterprise D. There it is. Out the exterior view.
It's,
And there it is outside.
It's a cool game, but in my opinion, it's inferior to a indie title made by like 2 guys called Pulsar: The Last Colony, which is also a sci-fi bridge simulator, except that
You missed.
you get to
No, that just the torpedoes are just a bit slow. They'd hit in a bit, but that's enough of that.
beam down and land on a planet. Also, we should what was the fan-made TNG recreation called? Like
Stage 9.
Yeah. You can find Stage 9 available for download. You have to look for it, but I think that's the best TNG recreation out there by far.
I've got it on here somewhere. I don't know what folder I put it in, but it's around.
It also has VR compatibility.
I still have
Also,
it
1 minute
available-
countdown.
available.
1 minute countdown to the next episode, the last episode for today, A Matter of Time, which is the Max Headroom episode. Still don't know who that is, but apparently it's this episode.
You've never
Max-
Max Headroom.
Yeah, he was the inspiration for Ronald Reagan doing that same thing in Back to the Future.
I was just going to say that. Him and Ayatollah in Back to the Future in the Cafe 80s, where it's always morning in America, even in the afternoon.
Okay.
Yeah, but Max Headroom was a UK-produced show that kind of became a cult, pop culture thing, and then later kind of a cult fandom to it. But it's about it takes place in a futuristic, dystopian future where there's this digital
10 seconds.
there's this digital revolution led by Max Headroom, who's a
Press play in 4, 3, 2, 1, play. Continue.
But Max Headroom's a really great show. I would highly recommend checking it out. It feels, I rewatched it a few years ago. It feels dated a little bit for sure, but I still think it's interesting. And
Okay.
Type C asteroid.
Type
Now,
C
he was
asteroid.
actually Max Headroom, the character that is, was credited as being computer generated, but he completely was not.
There's a
The
guy in a
winters of
mask.
21st
Oh,
century,
it's a guy in a mask, and he's played by actor Matt Frewer, who is the guest star in this episode, which is why we brought it up.
Yeah, but they didn't even modify him with any computer generation either.
No, it's just makeup and
He was
the
wearing
background.
makeup and prosthetics, and they gave a background to it, and then they simply reduced the frame rate to make it choppy.
Huh? Nice.
And because the lighting and the plastic look of him was so weird, it looked like it was computer generated imagery.
That's
People
amazing.
didn't know what it
Yeah,
looked
check out some video on it or some images. It's really interesting. I'll try to post one in the Discord.
Okay, the voices should be back to normal now. The audio. Just forgot to swap it back to the original setup.
There was a really
also,
good
we were
YouTube-
playing a bit of show audio through the stream, but hopefully CBS doesn't care. That's should be fine. Don't worry about it.
What
You'll
if,
have
it
that
turned
from
up-
time to time.
what if instead
And
of
I'm
being
sorry
Max
to
Headroom,
disrupt
this was just like a bomb?
Oh, that's weird. That's a weird shit.
And yeah, Worf was like, "Hey, there's something popping up," and then just exploded. Everyone dies. Worf gets fired again.
Here we are. For those interested, I'm putting this YouTube link in the Discord. It's a really good mini documentary on Max Headroom. Made on YouTube.
You know what would have been a great Star Trek episode? I want to see Worf go to like the Starfleet equivalent of like remedial driving school.
What?
Oh, Picard moved over. How nice.
There's our guy.
How's it going, Max? What's his name? Matt? Hey, Matt.
Matt Frewer, yeah. He's been in lots of stuff. He was in the original miniseries The Stand.
Oh, he's good.
That. He's in Honey, I Shrunk the Kids. He was on a show called Doctor on CBS, which I was a big fan of.
I thought that was another Brent Spiner, but when I looked at the actor, it turned out that it's somebody else. So it's not the same actor that plays Data. Right?
No, they look a little similar for sure. Yeah.
They look similar, and they even sound similar too, don't they?
Yeah. I think they're both kind of comedic character actors, outside of Star Trek. But I mean,
that's what I thought.
Good, solid comedic actor that they get in for kind of a unique role.
Let me do a script search real quick of everything before this to see if the temporal prime directive is something that exists. Because this is absolutely a violation if they go along with him.
I can tell you before you even search, no, it's not.
Jesus.
Well, I'm going to look it up anyway.
So if you were given a time machine and you needed to like go to some period to like study it, where would you go?
Oh man.
Nope, it's only a thing in Voyager.
Well, it's something like it by implication in DS9. I mean, Temporal Investigations is mad about something.
Yeah.
Did you see my screenshot of when I did my script search? I also attached the link to it to where I found it.
Let me scroll up. Oh. Open original. Let's open that up. So that's the script of the game.
Yeah, of the game.
More like the lame. Just kidding. It was a good episode.
It was.
It was definitely something that happened for sure.
It was maybe a little rough around the edges, but I liked it.
Robert Picardo and Batman the Animated Series.
Are we still allowed to say created by Gene Roddenberry in the credits?
Yeah.
But he's not alive anymore.
He made the show.
No, it's about the show. It's credit for the whole show.
Even though we still
I think
created the
certainly
show.
with the new shows, I say based on the.
That's a WGA thing though. That's a writer's guild thing.
There was a little bit of a spoiler in the credits there because it said Matt Frewer as Rasmussen in quotes. Nobody else gets quotes with their name.
They do that with most character names, don't they? In the credits?
I don't think so.
They do it with Guinan. In the opening credit, not in the theme song, but in the
like in this bit here
in the episode.
Yeah, I think that's
the beginning of the episode.
I don't think that's a spoiler.
No, I just made that
similar
up.
to Kermit, but isn't Kermit.
This guy is basically just like what am I trying to say? This is like if this guy just reminds me of Us, where he is in Star Trek The Next Generation and he picks up every random prop and he's like, yes,
yeah, he's a fanboy.
The original. You got a new coffee cup a couple years ago.
He's a fanboy. That's fine.
This is going to be dropped by a production assistant in the next season, and you'll get a new one in a year.
He also has the kind of hair that it's very difficult to make a thumbnail of while removing the background. Makes things very difficult for me, Matt.
His hair's not his fault.
I picked the right day because I'm a huge fan of Star Trek: The Next Generation.
It's not important. You're just going to be zapped sitting in that chair.
That particular chair has a loose bolt, as you'll discover shortly.
Stop.
I love that, even early in this episode, he's just so smarmy. You're like, oh, this guy's such a fucking con man.
Swearing on my Star Trek stream?
Dude, I've been doing that the whole time.
Oh,
but I'll try to keep
Ryan, start.
It's okay.
Stream Discord. I gotta go eat out. I got something going on in a bit, so
Okay.
I gotta get going.
All right,
You
later.
guys have a good rest of the stream, and I'll see you.
Be right.
I'll see you tomorrow, depending on how I'm doing.
Yep, we'll be here.
Yep.
We'll be here, DS9, buddy.
Good night.
Farewell.
Thanks.
Captain Picard smiling? That's just unnatural. Just smile. Why is he allowed to do... well, I mean, obviously he's not allowed to do this because not, story reasons. But why do they think he's allowed to do this? Just go and talk to people from the past, and that's all on the up and up.
I mean, it's not necessarily... If he doesn't tell them too much, it's not necessarily a problem.
Yeah, like he's
Learning about the past isn't a problem.
When they start asking about more suspicious things, they get more suspicious, but right now he's acting like all sorts of really random questions, like, oh, your ready room is 6 meters wide.
He doesn't know, the exact details of their days. He could be interrupting something important that influences a decision later.
I just think this conversation shouldn't be taking place. Like, Picard should be calling his boss. That's what you do right now.
Yeah, that's true.
Hello, Admiral in the the whole reason Picard never calls his boss.
He's the captain on the TV series. Yeah, he's the captain on a TV series. He doesn't have to. He's not.
This is a weird circumstance. Like, call your boss. Come on.
Hello, Federation Council. Would you like to talk with this guy who's claims?
It's not like
Max Headroom's
his name in Enterprise, Captain Archer, who had to contact his boss for anything he does.
Yeah. Yeah, good call.
Could we leave a note with the Department of Temporal Investigations that just says, if this is legit, keep this stored for a while and hand it over to the professor before he leaves. And then if the professor suddenly has it, then it's all good.
I feel like what the professor should have done is maybe he should have traveled back like a week early and made an appointment. And then he just waits around for a bit, and then the Enterprise just picks him up, and they're like, "Oh, hey!" And they're like, "Hey, you got all the paperwork filled out?"
Cloaking tech, so we could just walk around the ship, not bother anyone.
Yeah, like those Voyager aliens.
Yeah,
or actually, the aliens we see in a later episode of TNG, I think.
Oh, that's a lovely apple, nice and green, which is the best kind of apple, as I trust you all know.
Yep.
Not like those filthy red delicious. Worst kind. Did you just steal an apple? I mean, I guess it doesn't matter, it's an apple. Just get more. But what's he doing with an apple in his pocket?
As a Minnesotan, I'd like to say that you owe our state for tasty apples. And if it weren't for the universities of Minnesota's apple breeding program, we'd still basically be stuck with the Red Delicious.
Okay. I was about to say that towel looks like the worst possible towel for drying things off, but I know it does have another side for actual absorption. It's a one-sided towel. I don't know why it's one-sided, but it is.
Yes, so you can have one-sided conversations.
Why did he take... Did he take the owl just to... The owl. He didn't take an owl. Did he take the apple? Just to check if Data would notice? Because Data doesn't care if you take the apple.
Maybe he was... Well, maybe it's the most benign test that he can do.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it
feels like a reset.
Was this the command base from the Q episode where the asteroid's about to hit the planet?
I think it's also the set that they use for when Geordi is talking to the holographic simulation of the person who built the Enterprise.
Oh, yeah.
Leah Brahms?
Yeah.
Oh, there's a hurricane coming in, but luckily the hurricane isn't spinning at all as it moves. I don't know what that means for a hurricane.
No, that's not a hurricane.
It means it's dead.
The hurricane is dead.
New Seattle.
Oh, this is just normal Seattle weather. Same as old Seattle.
Yeah, I see no difference there.
Yeah.
Professor Rasmussen, or Rasmussen. Tell us about the future. Why are you staring at Worf like that? Were you trying to get Worf to give you a seat? What are you doing? What are you doing, Rasmussen? That's Worf's seat. Oh.
He's giving them homework.
In the future, Klingons just got domesticated like dogs. And he's like looking at Worf like he'd look at a dog. Eat any good books lately?
What's going to happen in an hour? I mean, come on, let's be real, Wolf. You said a week. Something important happens every single week. That's how this works.
That's what this TV show is.
Do we get to see Guinan interact with Professor Rasmussen at all?
I don't think so.
Oh, that would have been a good
she'd see through it.
He wasn't in the opening.
Yeah, there's no Whoopi in this episode for sure.
Yeah, surgical masks and gloves. Who wears masks? You should wear a mask, by the way.
I don't like the...
It's barbaric.
Are we talking about the Season 7 TNG episode, Masks?
And you can talk about that.
No, I'm just kidding. Also, I need to correct myself. Oh, wait, no, it was Season 7.
It is. Because, you know it's
It was very Season 7.
Because it's weird.
Yeah.
Yeah. This is like he's just looking around.
He's looking for things to pocket.
Consummate V's.
Like, why is he doing this? Like, he's making them so damn suspicious.
Phasers existed in the 22nd century,
They weren't
right?
phasers, they were phase cannons. Or
Oh,
phase
I'm
pistols.
sorry.
Those are different.
Yeah.
Delightfully primitive.
Technically correct. Oh, hey, Tracy.
The best kind of correct.
Tracy.
That's a lot more of a close-up than we usually get from Tracy.
I was gonna say she's a big part of that scene.
Yeah.
till she wasn't.
Where'd she go? Is she just behind Data, or did she leave the scene?
You can see a foot behind Data.
There she is. Nope. Yes.
Yep,
there she is. What you doing, Professor? Just hanging out? Just watching? Even if he is who he says he is, why is this allowed?
Yeah.
This is a work environment.
No manager would approve this.
So that would imply...
Yeah, that implies that Data's dead.
Dead. Yeah, in 300 years.
Yeah.
Because otherwise you could just ask him.
Really? The only thing that's happening right now on the ship is the thing you think he's there to witness? Really?
Yeah.
You just pieced that together yourself, did you, Jordy?
At Tanagra.
Old Spock and Picard at Tanagra. Being able to see is good. That's why I wear glasses. It's very important.
I love how they refer to Stevie Wonder.
Yeah.
They always refer to Stevie Wonder as Wonder. Like his last name alone.
Oh,
it's so good.
I didn't put that together.
Wait, Monet
yeah, there's
was
another
blind?
episode where Monet went blind eventually, which actually influenced his style. But no, they mentioned Wonder in some other episode too when they're mentioning musical greats or geniuses or something.
He stole a pad. How dare he?
Yeah, that's like a time traveler from the 18th century comes into like the 21st century, and he like casually like steals a AA battery and a ballpoint pen. He's like, "Ooh boy,
These things went extinct ages ago."
the Ottoman Empire is gonna lose their shit over this."
Seriously, though, that is a literal problem with vintage computer enthusiasts.
Oh,
The
man.
hardware from 30 and 40 years ago is not being reproduced now. So weirdly, that kind of makes sense now that I think about it.
Yeah, do you guys know about the John Titor thing? The guy who claimed to be a time traveler who had to go back in time and get like a computer component from an old computer.
I've never heard of this. I don't
Is
think.
that a show or a real guy who tried?
A real
to do that?
guy.
It was a real thing that happened on like a message board, supposedly. Yeah, there's been like videos and stuff about it.
Okay. 2,000 cubic meters per second. Jesus. Cubic meters.
Are they just using the ship's phaser to melt ice?
Yeah,
I think they're
trying
using it to like
Upright
poke a
ice?
hole and like expose some natural gas or something.
There's CO2 under the crust, under the ice, so they're just letting it out. And vaporizing bits of the Earth, but, well, not the Earth, of Pantara 4.
He took right to his chair. How dare he?
He comes in like a kid watching his favorite TV show.
Yeah.
He's a fanboy.
Yeah, he's just a Trekkie who wants to visit set. This is just what the Star Trek experience in Las Vegas was like.
Now, I feel compelled to point out that climate change does not act this quickly.
Oh, yeah.
It's not literally seconds that you release CO2 and the entire planet gets warmer.
They didn't really think this one through, and yeah, like the temperature's going to rise rapidly, but obviously it's not going to slow down instantly
Yeah,
once
if it's
they get to
rising
the
this
ideal
rapidly, you're
temperature.
dead.
Yeah, they're all just
Yeah.
going to be baked.
This is like a 50-year process. Maybe 30. I mean, it wasn't that dramatic, Professor. He just shot the ground for a few seconds.
This is like
This is like the least exciting solution in the entire TV show.
It's like giving somebody an Academy Award for doing their ordinary homework.
It was mostly paperwork.
My favorite part of the sickbay is generally a pretty good-looking set, but something about Dr. Crusher's 1 gallon bowls of blue and red glowing liquid in the background kind of messes it up for me.
Well, I was wondering who that guy is. I don't think he's the murder guy from Voyager. He's not Wormtongue. But I've definitely seen him before on the show.
Who, the guy in the red shirt?
Yeah, the guy with the hurt leg.
But what about my leg? Wait. Nobody
Nah.
even says I'll be right back. What?
Nope, she just...
They just ignore him
He just
and
likes
walk away.
Screw that, they have homework to do. They're very busy.
I'm
have
9
to
years
do.
old.
They're not even going to have, like, Nurse Ogawa come in and fix the guy's leg? They just leave?
He's fine.
What about that guy who's just messing with the
Yeah.
vial in the background? Could
I
he
was
fix
just
his leg?
thinking about him.
No, he's the vile guy. Come
He's
on.
literally like that stock photo where it's like, yes, finally, refined Obama Minium.
The moment there of that with that 9-year-old kid, or supposedly 9-year-old kid, it actually reminded me of this is sort of time travel thing, although it's natural time travel. I have a relative who is a very big historian. His favorite era is the United States Civil War, but he's also very much into the Titanic history. And a few years before the Titanic movie came out, he was actually visiting a lady in a nursing home who lived nearby, and she was actually at the time the oldest living survivor of the Titanic. She was 8 years old at the time that it happened, and she was talking with my distant cousin, and she said that she had something she wanted to give him, and it was a coin that was given to her by a man on the Titanic as she was getting into the lifeboat. He gave her this coin.
Wow.
And I have no idea whether he made it alive or not. But she said, "You look just like him, the way that your beard and your whiskers are. I want you to have this."
Dating tip 27, don't do anything that he is doing in this scene.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, don't influence the past on a date.
Wow, he's worse with women than Jordy is.
What?
Are you saying that Max Headroom is not a good role model for my romantic relationships?
Yeah.
I mean, the fact that you might be his great-great-great-grandmother didn't bother, who was it? Bashir? DS9. He was down with that.
Something's wrong. I can feel it.
That was part of his strategy. He just made her so uncomfortable. She didn't want him to stay to explain why he's stealing that thing. Well, proximity? No, that's an earthquake alarm. They didn't make that big of a hole, did they? They didn't, like, go down to the mantle.
Down to the mantle, would it be that big of a deal, or would it just make a volcano?
Well, the Earth's crust is 5 miles thick, I think.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm not a geophysicist, but I imagine that'd probably be bad if you dug 5 miles down to the mantle. That seems like that's a lot of pressure.
Jordy just said an 8 or an 8.5 on the Richter scale. That is catastrophic.
Yeah, but I suppose it happens on like the South Pole on this sparsely populated planet with future building codes that are immune to earthquakes.
If that was 8 or 8.5, that building they're in would not exist anymore.
Well, he did say they're fairly
made out of
quake.
uranium. Shh.
This entire building is on springs on all sides.
Do you guys remember in Generations where a star explodes and they're like, it's a 40 on the Richter scale?
No, I don't.
40?
There's so much about that movie that makes no sense.
Geometrically or something?
Yeah, there's a lot about that.
It is a logarithmic scale, as I recall.
Yeah.
A 40 would be like the planet is shaking itself apart somehow.
Yeah, a star exploded.
I like, my favorite part of Generations is when he fires a missile from an M-class planet, which should be roughly Earth distance from the star, and it gets there in like 10 seconds.
My favorite part of
a tiny little warp drive.
My favorite part of Star Trek Generations is when he tries to blow up stars to get back to the Nexus, when he could have just flown a shuttlecraft in there, which is exactly how we got there originally, basically.
Well, Picard can go back to any point in time, so rather than going back weeks before Sauron does his thing, he goes back like an hour beforehand, and they barely stop him.
My favorite part of Generations is something they didn't let William Shatner do, which is people are always saying, Captain on the bridge, Captain on the bridge, Captain on the bridge.
Oh, yeah.
And he wanted to, when he died at the end, and a bridge fell on him, he wanted to say, bridge on the captain, and die. They didn't let him do it. It would have been amazing.
It wouldn't have saved that movie for me.
It would have been way better than the actual end.
I'm glad they did not let them do it, assuming that's a true story.
I mean, that Bill definitely told that story. Well, not Bill, this Bill, but Bill Shatner. I think it's that thing where he's talking with Leonard Nimoy and what are their names? Patrick Stewart and Jonathan Frakes.
Data just has like VLC media player installed, and he's just listening to all his mixtape at all times.
DLC. Data is very well multi-threaded. He works on a lot of different tasks at once.
Mm-hmm. And also really quick, I know we're not watching that episode anymore, but I'm really surprised that the game didn't have microtransactions.
Oh man!
Sometime in the next 300 years, they outlaw those.
You get an alternate skin for your tubas and frisbees.
But it does have like the ability to not become hypnotized and have to do whatever.
Yeah, they wouldn't have to. They wouldn't have had to have made it drug-like in that case to make it.
They could have just bankrupted the crew of the Enterprise and just taking the shit that way.
Still in a tricorder, okay.
If I ever get to go to the future, I'm definitely going to just try and shoplift random unimportant objects.
He's going to sell that on eBay.
I mean, literally, yes.
Antique tricorder.
Original next generation props.
New old stock from the 23rd century.
I'll sell this to Adam Savage for $15,000.
We're going to get a variant of this plot in Voyager with Henry Starling is his name.
I hated that so much.
Well, this guy's trying to do exactly the same thing, but this is, TNG. Cascading exothermal inversion. Okay, thank you for the layman's terms, Data. Very helpful.
I like the 90s
atmosphere. We generally want
Star Trek episode. It's all worth it so you can see Tuvok's weird human costume.
Which human costume? Oh, he's playing with his crystal. Which human costume, though? He has several.
I don't know.
Where he's on Enterprise B?
Oh, no, I meant like when he goes back in time and he needs to wear like 90s Earth clothes and Tuvok has like this sleeveless shirt.
Yes. That. I thought you meant when Tim Russ plays a human character, which he does occasionally.
Oh, yeah. Ryan, have you ever thought about cutting Tuvok's dialogue in with his dialogue as Principal Franklin on iCarly, which are basically the same character?
I have not, no.
I think that would be a good idea. Where it's like, Captain, I was in my apartment trying to watch iCarly when I don't know. There's some good dialogue in that show that I'd feel very at home in Voyager.
Despite this episode's somewhat silliness from the villain, this conversation is a very serious conversation here that they're having. Yeah. And so 20 million lives at stake, and he's asking him to violate the Prime Directive in order to save it.
Mm-hmm.
And it depends on, depending on what time you're from, these people are either dead and it doesn't matter, or they're alive and it very much does.
Well, I think Picard has this guy pegged at this point, maybe not as, the con artist that he is, but definitely as a guy he can kind of negotiate with. Maybe get from.
I never thought about
Picard's go-to solution. If you have something that can solve by talking, just talk.
He's like, we've been cooperative. You want certain information from us about the future, about our work, all this stuff.
Like apples,
we'll
give you a lot of apples.
Yeah, like help us out here, man. Like help us save some lives.
Haster, don't worry about missing out on some of it because we still have like 80% of Star Trek left for you to watch through or more. There's a lot. There's a lot of Star Trek.
I like his sort of go back at Picard here, which is, how can you trust that what I'm saying or what you're doing is going to be the right thing, even if I do try to help.
I like this bit.
One real person, one fake person. That's how it works.
Really good acting performance by Patrick Stewart.
And this guy's a pretty good actor. Well, I mean, the actor himself, but also the character is acting. And he's doing a pretty good job of it.
It's a tough role. It's very specific, but it's tricky, and I think he's a good fit for this. I don't think Fur necessarily has a lot of range, but I think he plays this really well.
Well, I just mean Professor Rasmussen.
Yeah, but it has a deeper level acting within acting. Yeah, for sure. But
he has to make all this up on the spot and come up with these philosophical arguments he's never actually heard before. This is just
that's the thing. He's cringy. He's uncomfortable. He's kind of trying to improvise, but on top of that, the actor is acting like he's improvising, which is tricky.
No, that's interesting. There, a crystal ship, crystal tall wooden ship.
Yeah, I assume that's an Enterprise.
Nevertheless, I have disregarded that directive on more than one occasion.
How many times?
I thought it was the right thing to do.
I need to do a video compiling all the times he violates the Prime Directive.
It's a 7-hour video.
Maybe try to find Captain Kirk's 17 separate temporal violations. He is a menace. That could be a fun series. Every captain, how many times did they violate the Prime Directive?
Every choice we make alters the future. It's making choices. Living is making choices. That's a quote that I definitely got from Captain Picard.
Okay. I mean, Picard, you know, if he's telling the truth of who he says he is, he can't tell you. I mean, I get you're kind of desperate here, but... I get the feeling here that Rasmussen generally wants to tell him the answer, he just doesn't know it.
Yeah, because he's an idiot.
Yeah, because he's a fraud. He's a fucking fraud.
Yeah, he doesn't know the answer, but he has been actually convinced by the Picard speech.
No, absolutely. He would save the day if he can, and I think that's when his facade starts to crack a little bit, is because he does have feelings, even if they're small. He cares about.
He's a petty thief, but he doesn't want to kill 20 million people.
Exactly.
That's a little much.
But yeah, he's a fucking fraud.
And it's not that big a deal. It's just a Star Trek episode.
Oh, commercial break.
Commercial break. I'm really curious how this would go. Well, I know exactly how it would go. They would just never mention it again. But if Picard actually killed all 20 million of these people.
Well, that kind of is that sort of is the premise of Star Trek Picard, I guess.
Kinda.
Well, since Geordi is still on the planet, the audience knows that nothing's going to go wrong, so...
Oh, darn it.
LaForge remains below. What does that mean? They're unexpected. You can't... Yeah, if they made it like a small colony, maybe like a few thousand people, and Geordi had to be on the Enterprise for some reason, maybe there'd be a little more tension. But as it is, we're pretty sure it's gonna be fine.
Yeah.
There was that time in Enterprise they just murdered an entire colony.
That's interesting.
Yeah, that was nice.
That was more temporal shenanigans, but they did it. They didn't bring him
Oh,
back.
hey, it's like the Enterprise is doing like a Death Star thing right here.
That definitely looks like they just killed them.
Yeah. The way that looks, I wouldn't expect anything to survive it if it looked like that from space.
How fast is that wind on that planet? That's like hundreds or thousands of miles per second.
It's incredibly scientifically inaccurate, but can we just say the effects in this scene are top-notch?
Yep.
So I kind of think that the writers wanted to telegraph to the audience that everything would be fine specifically because they wanted to show Rasmussen's reactions to this and show that he actually had no idea what was going to happen.
Okay.
This is how climate change works, by the way. If you just have the Enterprise suck up all the bad air, it'll just shoot it into space.
Now all we need to do is get an Enterprise. Well, we do have an Enterprise, but it's not quite as good. Wow, particulate levels right where they're supposed to be. Amazing. There's no episode where the crew get turned into hamsters, but there's an episode where they turn into various creatures, like Barclay turns into a spider, Riker turns into a caveman, Troy turns into a fish lady.
And Spot turns into an iguana.
Oh, that's right. I forgot about Spot.
There might be a hamster in there somewhere. I'm not sure.
There's also the episode where they turn into children, which are basically hamsters.
If you say so.
Because
are you not a father, or what's the deal there?
I am 19 years old.
Because they're stuck in the isolation chamber.
I mean, that doesn't really answer the question.
Hamsters. It's like a habit trail.
I am my own father.
I've met plenty of people who were mothers or fathers at 18.
Talk about mixed up time travel. You say I'm your own.
He's his own father.
Yeah, I'm my own father.
Interesting relationship with your
No,
mother.
Barclay can't turn into broccoli because he's already broccoli. He turns into a spider. There's also an outtake here, but I don't really understand it. Captain Picard, well, sort of after they come out of the ship again, Captain Picard turns to Data and just goes, "You lie," and pretends to smack him with a phaser. But the audio before that is kind of cut off, so I don't know what he's supposed to be lying about. Mr. Data.
Just like that other episode. Unless somebody hacks his brain.
Again.
Unless the entire crew realizes that Data's been lying to them for some just unknown reason and they figure it out.
Yeah.
Because their plants have grown.
Now, even for the futuristic here, even for the future, this is still much more futuristic, it seems.
Just like I couldn't be in that ship for more than a couple minutes with that stupid pulsating lighting and the reflective backgrounds.
That is a pretty ugly ship.
Yeah, it feels like I'm inside of like an igloo.
Like, if you can materialize the doors and stuff, do you think you could materialize some, like, stable lighting and, I don't know, wallpaper?
It might be difficult in Voyager, Elizabeth, for this to be the same character, because I don't think he's going to get back there. I feel like he's going to be a little stuck where he wants to be.
Captain Braxton shows up and he's like, "All right, Rasmussen.
Not again.
Off to time jail."
Why didn't Captain Braxton deal with Henry Starling?
Because he was a homeless person.
No, but like before he turned homeless. in another timeline.
Oh.
The temporal investigations doesn't stop Henry Starling. I guess because Henry Starling was actually useful to them.
Maybe it was because Voyager took care of Starling, and that was part of the timeline instead of whatever Starling did.
I guess what you could do if you want them to be the same character, you could have this be the sequel to that episode, and in the Voyager episode, like Rasmussen escapes into the future and ends up here on the Enterprise.
So he said, we're back to a place called New Jersey, as if nobody here knows about New Jersey anymore.
Yeah, like Data of all people definitely knows where New Jersey is.
But nobody cares about New Jersey. It's just kind of there.
He's a man out of time, so he may not kind of know what is or isn't still relevant anymore. But I like it's like a joke about New Jersey, like because he is like
New Jersey was destroyed in the war with in World War III with the NCOMs or whatever they were called.
So that ship is programmed to go back to the 22nd century, right? Oh, right here. This is where, on the wide shot, it cuts to Picard and he says, "You lie," and he smacks him. So that ship is programmed to go back to the 22nd century. And they're just going to let it go.
Yeah, it'll get found by some other guy there. It'll be great.
I feel like, is this how Henry Starling got started? He found this exact ship?
Oh no, the last thing I want is something from my favorite series influencing my least favorite thing from almost any Star Trek series.
I like how Beverly said to him, like, a very nice performance, which is, was she saying that to the actor? Who knows?
Yeah.
Why did they allow this to happen? That's going to cause so much problems.
Why did I know he stole a bunch of random technology stuff, but one of the things he stole was like one of Worf's Klingon daggers, and he's like, "Yes, a dagger."
But it has 3 points on it.
Well, he's not the smartest guy. He's not the smartest guy, which is why he got caught.
Yes.
Wait, that just said executive producer Gene Roddenberry. Was this made before his death, and it was just only aired after?
I think he stays in the credits forever.
They make these, yeah.
But it didn't say Star Trek created by it. It specifically said executive producer, which is definitely
executive producer is just a it's a titular thing for most of the time, so that it can pay you. Like, executive producer Steven Spielberg. That's gotta be good. Maybe not.
All right, so tomorrow... What's tomorrow? It's going to be Let He Who Is Without Sin, where Worf is a domestic terrorist. Things Past, where we get more evidence that Odo was a collaborator with the Cardassians. And The Ascent, which is kind of a comedy episode.
Oh yeah, where they're stuck together.
Yeah, not Worf. Odo and Quark are stuck on a mountain. Why are they climbing a mountain?
Because they're stuck on it.
Because they're in love now.
To hug the mountain. To envelop that mountain.
It's because the Rio Grande crashed for the one time in the entire series.
Is it actually the Rio Grande?
Yeah.
There's no way it's the Rio Grande.
No, that's the Rio. They sucked it up and fixed it.
Well, I'm going to choose not to believe you until tomorrow, because the Rio Grande is infallible.
The why are they climbing a mountain thing is a reference to Shatner. For anyone who's not,
because it's there. That's the reason.
Yeah,
that's not the reason.
Well, he gives various reasons in the song, but yeah, that's the reference for everyone chiming in with the actual reasons.
Yes, I know why they're climbing around. They crash.
Yeah, we all know why they're
one jacket to share. And they swap back and forth, and the transporter needs to get through the radiation or whatever, so they have to go to the mountain. Blah blah blah. No, to hug the mountain, to envelop that mountain.
Yeah, no, it's the Rio. It's the Rio Grande.
I don't believe you. I don't believe you. The Rio Grande can do no wrong.
That's the one time the Rio Grande messed up.
I don't believe
the Rio Grande didn't make any mistakes at all, though.
What is the Rio Grande?
There's that YouTube video in the YouTube chat of Captain Kirk is climbing a mountain. Why is he climbing a mountain? Which is pretty good. Highly recommend it.
Right on.
And I think that's it for today. I think we're good. I think we're done. Go away.
All right, bye everybody. See you at DS9.
See you around
tomorrow.
No, you.
And TNG this week was DM'd by Ardos this time.